So we didn't learn. We didn't learn from last time. We didn't. So we didn't learn.
Before watching this video, there are a few important things we want to make clear. This issue occurred over a year ago. Mantis was one of the original founders. He directly helped create, edit, and publish our code of conduct, terms of service, and rules. The very process he is now challenging is the same process he helped design. Mantis was made fully aware from the beginning that the past council's vote was final. His right to appeal was not about relitigating that decision. It existed only so he could argue that he had changed. His current complaints about how the vote was conducted have no bearing on his appeal, since the guilty vote was cast over a year ago by a different council. But there were safeguards to ensure fairness. To give Mantis the fairest possible trial, we put multiple safeguards in place. He had an entire year to collect evidence before appealing on his own timeline. Once he filed his appeal, it was approved immediately, and his case went straight to the investigation phase without delay. He was given access to his case file, vote history, and screenshots a full day in advance. He was granted a discovery phase prior to the trial where he could review all evidence and challenge or exclude it before proceedings began. Before trial, he was privately asked if he was ready and if he needed any accommodations. He was informed that while we do not appoint attorneys, he was free to bring one in and had ample time to do so. Additionally, because he argued the trial could be unfair or biased, I, Turtle, personally revoked my own vote to give him a better chance with a fully neutral judge. The prosecutor barely objected during trial for two reasons. The defense was undermining its own case, and we wanted Mantis to have every opportunity to speak freely, since his words carried significant weight in determining the outcome.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, prosecution, defense, my name is Turtle. I am the owner of the Hydra Tribunal. I will be acting as the bailiff, as well as the court reporter for this case, and court clerk. All and any information for this case was given to me specifically. Before we continue with the case, I am going to bring out our lovely, esteemed, and honorable judge. I'm going to be reading the witness statement, as the witness did not want to be here, / the accuser. They are too afraid to be able to show up to this case. Representing them will be Grim Guy, and then defense will be Colonel Mantis. This case is in regards to a ban appeal on Mantis' side. Grim does not need to prove guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, as the past case was determined that he was guilty. He is just fighting for the right to join back into our group. You will see evidence today. You will hear evidence today. At the end of the day, the choice is going to be between me and Wayne. I will only allow you guys to sit there if you guys are quiet. This is being recorded for full transparency, as Hydra policy states that all instances such as this that are personal Hydra matters must be recorded and shared with the community. Grim Guy, do you consent to be being recorded?
Yes, I consent to being recorded.
Mantis, do you consent to be recorded?
Yes.
At this time, we will continue. May everybody rise. Welcoming in our esteemed and honorable judge, Queen Kind. You may all take your seats. Before we continue, I am going to be reading the witness testimony that prosecution's client has provided as an affidavit. It is not considered evidence as the court, but it is considered a testimony.
On around September 12, 2024, I participated in both a public voice chat with the Hydra Discord server and a private voice call with an individual known online as Colonel Mantis. During this interaction, we engaged in casual conversation and played Fortnite together, and I believe Friday Night Funkin' as well. The discussion initially centered around shared interest. During the course of the conversation, Colonel Mantis disclosed that he was involved in producing adult, not safe for work content and inquired whether I would be interested in providing voice acting for the material. I immediately felt uncomfortable with this proposition. Although I initially attempted to deflect the conversation with humor, he continued to put it. He proceeded to offer incentives and made statements that I interpreted as attempts to bribe me into participating. Colonel Mantis also claimed to possess recordings of another individual referred to as Turtle, who had allegedly performed voice acting for similar not safe for work content. He offered to show me those recordings if I agreed to take the role. I declined all offers. Following this interaction, I severed all communication with Colonel Mantis by blocking him. I no longer feel safe working in the environment where he may be present. Furthermore, I am concerned that he may attempt to approach or pressure others in a similar manner.
That was her testimony. We may continue the trial.
Prosecution, are you ready to give your opening statements?
I am, Your Honor. Would you like me to approach the well when I give, or remain seated, or is there a preference?
Approach the well.
Ladies and gentlemen of the court, for the record, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Grimm. I am an acting council member for the Hydra Tribunal, and I will be serving as the prosecution in this case. Before we proceed, I believe it's important to clarify the matter at hand. The nature of this case may be difficult to follow, so I intend to be direct. I'll outline why we are here, what my position is, and how I plan to pursue my role as the prosecution throughout today's hearing. Let's begin by reviewing the charges under discussion: sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, abuse of a position, general misconduct, and disregard for the well-being of the group and its members. These charges stem from serious actions committed by Colonel Mantis, which directly violated Hydra's Discord Rule Number 7, known as civilian content. This conduct was also in violation of our 13+ friendly policy, and so egregious that it forced us to update Section 3 of the Hydra Tribunal Code of Conduct to more clearly address misuse of staff roles and sexual behavior in community spaces. These additions include: do not use your position in this group or server for personal gain; do not initiate sexual behavior with members of this group without a prior relationship; do not engage in sexual behavior in public chats, public voice calls, or group instances. These policies exist as Hydra takes the safety of its members seriously. We are committed to fostering a safe and respectful environment, and that is why I stand before you today to ask a simple but important question: why should someone who has committed these actions be allowed to return to our community in any capacity? I emphasize the word committed because, as stated prior, there is no debate, there is no trial to determine guilt or innocence. Colonel Mantis has already been found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt and was unanimously convicted by the acting Hydra Council at the time of these events. Today's hearing is not about what happened, it is about whether or not we should allow Colonel Mantis to re-enter our community after having committed these offenses. Now, I want to be clear. I believe in due process, and I have no interest in pursuing unfounded or questionable allegations. For this reason, I will not be focusing on the charge of sexual harassment in my prosecution today. While testimony from the harassment victim's host was included as part of the broader timeline and background events, I recognize that these events took place nearly a year ago. Time has passed, and limited availability of reliable and current witness accounts means that we must proceed with caution. Therefore, in the interest of fairness, I will operate under the assumption of innocence regarding that singular charge. Instead, I will focus on the remaining proven charges of sexual misconduct, abuse of position, general misconduct, and disregard for the well-being of the group and its members. I will demonstrate that Colonel Mantis' actions continue to pose a serious risk to this community and its members, and that we should never allow him to return into the Hydra Tribunal community. This concludes my opening statement.
Thank you, prosecution. All right, defense, are you ready for your opening statement?
Yes, Your Honor. May I?
Step into the middle of the well.
My name is Colonel Mantis. I am a self-established, not safe for work content creator. That means that I have been paid to make audio that simulates sounds that are of sexual variety. I have been in that statute for a long time. In doing so, I'm complacent, allowing my business of not safe for work content to spill in public domain, where minors could be easily exposed to it. With that, my actions were deemed to have jeopardized the server, its future, and its reputation. I represent myself as someone who's now fully cognizant of my actions. If granted a place to return to the server, I pledge to demonstrate to the Council that every member I pledge to demonstrate to the Council and every member that I am not just a deviant guilty of misconduct. Almost a year ago, on September 13th, I stood accused of sexual misconduct, harassment, and abuse of my position as a founder. Prior to this, I was informed of an impeding investigation and trial concerning my conduct. However, I was not afforded the opportunity to respond to any inquiries in accordance to said investigation.
Okay, now you're chasing clout. That's what we're not going to do here, okay?
The trial itself was far from impartial. Upon being reinvited to the server, I was not granted effective time to prepare myself for the trial to come. I was denied representation, forced to represent myself on my own behalf. In turn, I was confronted by multiple prosecuting judges, some of whom had expressed predetermined guilt, as well as one of those judges were allowed to share their own testimony of the events. I had been sentenced to 60 days ban by two leaders of the Hydra Tribunal, which had later been extended to a minimum of 6 months, without my knowledge, by those who were dissatisfied by the original ruling. Over the course of the trial, whatever defense that I had mustered was dismissed as irrelevant, and I, as an individual, was subject to vitriol before an actual ruling was taking place, as well as subjected to threats to physical harm. Members of the Hydra Tribunal, I stand before you today to appeal my case and my banning in this courtroom server. But not only that, I wanted to address that the very same accusations levied against me should be also come into question. And that is all I have to say.
All right. You may take your seat. Why does it sound like he was repeating the same thing over and over again? All right, now we're moving over to evidence phase. Prosecution.
How would you like to give the evidence? Because obviously it's been submitted to Turtle. Their video formats. I don't know how you would like me to present those.
I am going to present them over my mic, just as order, as we showed them to each other during the discovery phase. Explain the audio that they're about to hear. I will let you know, and right now the entire audio will be played for full transparency within the court. All right. So this is your first piece of evidence. Explain it to the court.
Hold on, let me pull up, because I need to remember my numbers for how I laid out the evidence. I'm just going to open our Discord chat where it was submitted to Discovery, just to make sure it's completely in sync with what you have. So the audio you're about to hear, all of my clips, just for record, are of the original council meeting that we had to discuss Colonel Mantis and his innocence or guilt. All of my evidence are merely quotes from his personal testimony and some of Turtle's testimony. I don't believe I use any other testimonies as direct evidence. Would you like me to give the timestamps now, or would you like me to just go over it after the video? Or
You can go over it after the video. Please raise my volume, as it's going to go through my headset.
Ask if he's ready to be brought in. Bring him in here.
Alrighty. Mantis, I do apologize for it's only been 7 minutes. I apologize for the wait. People weren't supposed to be coming, I guess. There was only supposed to be a couple, but someone joined in late. Are you ready to speak to the rest of the group?
I suppose they don't have anything else to do.
Alrighty. I'm just going to put you in there. Alrighty.
Alright. Thank you for joining us, Mantis. Do you know why you are here today? I assume it has something to do with misconduct against Host. You would be correct. We are going over the possibility of sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, misuse of your position, and your overall disregard for the group and its members in this meeting. I will ask you how you plead to these accusations. Not guilty. Alright. Now, I would like you to explain your side of the events that occurred today. That would be impossible.
That's the audio cut for anyone else.
It is cut.
Ah, shit.
Technical difficulties. Love to
My
see
mom
it.
is so sorry. Turtle, did you die?
Very lucky.
Am I legally required to answer that question?
No. Alright, we're gonna continue from where it dropped off.
Group and its members in this meeting. I will ask you how you pleaded these accusations.
Not guilty.
Alright. Now, I would like you to explain your side of the events that occurred today.
That would be impossible, as I have not been informed of until after the event, after the banning. I do not know what events occurred today that
Your
require
interactions with Toast today, as well as yesterday, if possible.
Okay. Well then, considering that's our only two interactions, that'll be fine. As of yesterday, we joined the VC. We talked, hung out. I informed or the topic came up of my work, being that I am doing voice acting, or not voice acting, I am doing sound editing, and that I would need voice actors. I have asked Turtle, I have asked Queen, and so after that, I have asked Toast. From then on, she originally declined, and after that, we went into the VR chat courts. We didn't really talk much during there, except during our courts, the virtual courts, in which we agreed we would play, not VR chat, we would be playing Fortnite today. Then there was today. I joined the VC with, I think it was, I forget his name. Damn it, I don't remember his name. Anyway, I joined the VC with him. We talked a little, and that's when Toast joined. Didn't really interact with her there, because I was busy listening to YouTube. That was until we started playing Fortnite. We played Fortnite, we won some, we lost some. It was fun. After all that ended, people started leaving, then it was just me and Toast. We started listening to music, be it random Friday Night Funkin' variants, meme music, or mashups that I found on YouTube, as you can see in memes or gaming channels. Then, I brought up the topic again, as she mentioned she needed to go to a job because she is broke. I mentioned again that I could, commission her to do voice acting. She said no, and then she left. From then, I hung out with, I forget who again, until they left for medicine, in which case Toast DM'd me saying that I've been abandoned. I say with quotation marks, as they were joking. From then, we haven't talked since.
Okay. So with all that being said, do you understand why this meeting has been called over these interactions? Go ahead and ask if he's ready to be brought in, bring him in.
Alright, that was the end of the audio clip. Did you want to continue explaining?
I didn't know if you were ready for me to. Would you like me to explain that now? I can.
Yes, please do.
For the court.
Yep.
So I'd like to highlight a few key points in Romance's testimony during that audio clip. I want to highlight that during this, he has only interacted with Toast twice. He makes a point to mention that'll be easy. These are the only times I've interacted with her. And I also want to highlight that he admitted offering NSW work prior to the reported incident being the first time they met, meaning he was willing to offer NSW work to her the day they met in our VR chat 13 plus instance, second time in our 13 plus Discord. So repeatedly offering, I'll just be blunt, pornographic work in these settings without knowing the person. And I also want to acknowledge that during that clip, you will hear that Toast once refused, and he repeatedly offered her this position doing pornographic work. That's all I'd like to say for that audio clip, Your Honor.
Thank you, prosecution.
The second piece of evidence.
So you believe you have acted appropriately as a member of Hydra and a manager of Hydra?
I have not been told otherwise what has been deemed misconduct.
Well, to put it simply, this is a safe for work Discord and group. And this is also a server with minors, things like that. We've made it clear that we have no intention of putting an NSFW channel or category in the server because we do not want anything sexual affiliated with this group, its members, or the Discord. So you may start to see where the issue of a manager of this group are positioning someone they only met yesterday with work in a pornographic industry of any variety, especially while in an instance or in the Discord of said group you represent, and this person also being a member of the Discord and group. Do you understand where the issue is coming in now?
Only in some regard. As you can remember, you have been witness to me interacting in the same regard to two other individuals, with there being no issue, no comment, or
Was this within the Hydra voice channel?
Hydra voice channel before it turned into the Hydra Tribunal.
No, incorrect information. I would like you to rethink and then look through your servers and take a good gander and where it happened. I'm going to give you a chance because if I step in, it's not going to be pretty.
Hold on. We are in two servers together. We're technically two servers together. Technically four. Two of those four are just dead. So we're only in two other servers.
We are in 4 mutual servers. The Hydra Tribunal.
4 mutual servers.
TNG stuff, and then 2 of your servers. TNG is where everything happened for the voice actor.
Everything has happened. Yes. But we have always had discussions and talks about it in this. We have also had discussions and talks about it in this server.
Well, I'm going to interject here because we're not going to have evidence proof one way or the other, so I'll break down why that necessarily isn't going to matter. Prior to this server being active, prior to it being open to the public, prior to it being a community, and prior to it actually being a functional Discord, you speaking with somebody whom you've known like 5 years about something like this isn't the issue here. We are now an active Discord. This is an active community. There are members in here. There are kids in here. And this is a public VC that the public has actual access to. Before, everything was technically private. This wasn't open for anybody to access or see. And you also, again, propositioned a member whom you only have known for less than 48 hours at this point. For, again, work in a not safe for work industry. And the fact that it's also been asked more than once after a no has been given is also adding to that situation. Because we have to remember, we are coming off the heels of the fiasco that is Law of Pickles. Most of the members here in the Discord are from the LOP. It's very fresh in everyone's minds. Everyone here knows everything that Pickles did and was accused of. Having a scandal like this could kill the server before it starts, and it could jeopardize the reputation of all of its staff. Had you propositioned somebody who was not a close friend of mine, Fizz's Darks, and a friend of Turtles, they easily could have gone off and reported exactly what happened to the public and made this an entire catastrophe for everyone involved.
That is very clear, which is why I state that I knew what I was doing when I once again bring up the fact that I have asked Turtle and her close associates, being that of Toast and Queen, who though, mind you, I have also known for less than 48 hours when I asked her.
Okay. I'm gonna step in.
I don't believe that justifies the behavior.
I'm gonna step in. Do you know?
There is no means of
Hold on.
There is no means of justification if there was no issue then, but now.
Hold.
If the public image is the only issue here.
It is not the only issue.
That's
here.
not the issue.
One of the issues here. The issue is also that this is sexual harassment of someone who is unwilling to participate in this line of work. What you did with Queen prior is not my concern. I am not her manager. I am not in charge of her, and I have not known her a long time, but this is now a group. Things are different now. And again, this is also because she was unwilling and did not want to be a part of this. What you've done with Queen prior is not my concern here, and it does not have any relevance here today.
I need to interject. Hold on. Do you know how old Toast is, Mantis?
No.
Okay.
But she has the role that states that she is above 18.
Okay. But you don't know how old this is.
Unverified. But
Okay.
we are in a server where that is supposed to be trustworthy, regardless.
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Verification hasn't been set up yet. The ticket system for that was still being developed, as you're aware. Unverified is the placeholder because we don't have a means of verification as of yet.
Our verification system is that of Turtle and any other individual that she so trusts. Anyone can simply verify by giving their ID to the person who is Turtle and other trusted individual. We have a system.
Pause.
And yet, so you believe you have acted appropriately as a...
That's the end of that one. Would you like to explain that one?
I'll explain some of the key points during that conversation, an audio clip. Once again, it's brought up that he is pressured or asked to toast, however you'd like to frame it, to partake in this line of work more than once, which is part of what was being cited there. I'd also like to quote him on saying he knew what he was doing when he was told about the potential backlash if he had asked the wrong person. I also want to point out that he claims to have asked Queen to participate in this line of work while also not knowing her for more than 48 hours, which I believe establishes a pattern of behavior, Colonel Mantis. He also readily admits that he was not aware of Toast's age when prompted. He claimed that an unverified 18-plus role should be trustworthy in that server, but of course, we had ruled in that case that that is absolutely not the case, and as I'll sustain that video, we didn't even have age verification set up yet at that point. So that's all I'd like to point out for that audio clip, Your Honor.
All right, this is your third piece of evidence.
I believe that would be trustworthy.
I need both of you to pause. Hold on. Mantis, you just admitted you did not know her age. She was unverified. You just admitted that. She could have been a minor. It does not matter if she is a close friend of mine. You didn't know that. You have not known how long I've known Queen or Toast. Do you understand that you could have offered that to a minor? Are you aware of that?
I knew that they weren't a minor because they had a role where they stated they weren't.
It states they're unverified.
They state that they are still 18 plus, unverified or not.
Yes,
verified or not.
But any bouncer at a bar will still check somebody's ID even if they say they're 21. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, so if a 16-year-old came up to you and said they were 18, you would just believe them? No, you would ask for identification in some way.
That is if anything I was doing would be requiring it.
Exactly.
What I'm asking.
And not safe for work voice acting requires it. You know that. You know better. I'm not turning this into a he said, she said situation. You've admitted to asking her this more than once. You've admitted that she said no more than once. I don't need any more evidence to make my choice. What I'm going to say next, I hope deep down it changes. I've known you for so long. I'm absolutely disgusted. Especially knowing how abusive Pickles was and how sexually charged everything was. Putting another woman, another female, in that position, most women can't say no. The fact that she had the balls to say no and leave, and you still want to sit here and try to defend yourself, I think is absolutely disgusting. I trusted you, we trusted you, and you fucked up. The least you could have done in this call is say, I'm sorry. That's the least you could have done.
Yes, I know. Yes, I know. I could have said that. I'm not trying to defend myself as saying that that I was justified or in any sort of thing. I knew what I was doing. And in my mind, and as through the system that we've built together, I was given the impression that it was okay. Because I have done it, because I have asked you, Turtle, the person who I had trusted. I have asked Queen, the person who I have met very briefly. In this very similar circumstance to that of Toast.
That what happens outside of this server doesn't matter. What happens in our personal life...
I am no Queen inside of this server. If I ask Queen in this server, and if I ask Toast in this server, what is the difference that makes me susceptible to misconduct?
The fact that A, she was unverified and you didn't actually know if she was a minor or not, and it wasn't verified. And you could see if she attempted to verify, which no one has except Hubba. 1. 2, the fact that we are telling you, you fucked up, hey, you should apologize. 3, the fact that when you asked Queen and when you met Queen, you met her through the LOP, and it was actually asked through the LOP, and from there we had a private call not done in this Hydra chat whatsoever. 4, the fact that I told you that Queen was of age, and you didn't even come to me and ask if Toast was of age. You just you did this publicly on your own. Should I continue? Because I have a long list.
No.
Okay.
As I said again, I am not trying to defend myself. I fully admit to what I was doing.
If I may, Mantis, you claim that you knew what you were doing, correct?
Yes.
How many times did Toast deny your offer?
Once every time I asked, so twice.
How many times did you ask?
Twice.
So, if you knew what you were doing, and you knew the first time she said no, why did you ask her a second time?
When she had brought up the topic, when she brought up the topic that she was going to her job because she was flat broke, bringing up the fact that she kind of needed everything. While I say that I am asking her a second time, I am more really bringing up the fact that voice acting is a paid experience. A heavy implication.
I understand that. But you knew from the first time that she had said no, and she denied the offer, and she did not want any part of that, and you brought it up again.
I had brought it up again, and when they said no, I did not push. We left on amicable terms, hence why I continue to state that I feel that.
Alright, and then we have...
Would you like me to explain any of what was important in that clip?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'd like to once again point out that he continued to attest to that an unregulated, unverified 18-plus role that anyone can click on is sufficient proof of age to recruit talent for pornographic work. His quote, "I knew they weren't a minor because they had a role that stated they weren't," as his only defense. I'd like to highlight a quote during that audio clip of Turtle saying, "If a 16-year-old came up to you and said they were 18, you would not just believe them. No, you would ask them for identification in some way," in which Colonel Mantis begins to say, "That's if anything I was doing would be requiring it," before he cut himself off, which I believe implies he may hold a belief that proof of age is not required for this pornographic voice acting he facilitates and works with. And note, at no point during this conversation does he admit he was wrong and ID should have been required during any of this. He also doubles down once more, saying he knew what he was doing, and at this point in the provided audio clips, it's established that any prior events that happened with individuals other than Toast did not in fact happen anywhere in a Hydra instance, in the Hydra Discord before it was or wasn't opened, anywhere else. They happened in the LOP and they happened in the TNG server. At no point was any of this ever acceptable inside of Hydra. That is all.
Right, and this is...
Sorry, I muted myself on the other account. This is the last piece of evidence before cross-examination.
Been caused.
No harm has been caused. Take a step back. If you are in this call right now, there has been harm caused. I hope you understand that. For the sake of Hydra, and for the sake of this girl, that even though you feel you have not harassed her, asking multiple times when someone says no, that's harassment. She's not even part of the moderation team. It's not even something that happened within this group. It happened publicly.
Yes.
Grim.
Here. Do you know why I'm thinking that this is a no-harm situation, or I feel that there's no harm?
I'll give you that
Because
chance, but
you
you have 2 minutes. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm at that point where I'm very angry with you.
After I asked her, and after she had said no, we had been sitting in the VC for a good hour, just listening to music, sending back and forth memes, music, FNF mod animations, or whatever. After I asked that question, and after they said no, at no point did I ever see, or did they ever state that there is some sort of ill content. I understand that what I have done, I understand now what I have done is clearly in the wrong. I am a part of a bigger, I'm no longer on my own. I'm a part of a bigger group now, and I'm supposed to represent something that is supposed to be better than it was previously. So I wholeheartedly apologize for my actions.
Before we continue, does anybody want to say their piece? Because I'm going to say something, but before I say it, we have to vote, and we have to do all that. Before we continue, is that the last thing you have to say, Mantis?
Well, let me really quickly just give, if any of the council members have a question or statement for Mantis, how about we get that out of the way first before hearing Mantis' last words on this before we rule?
No, that's what I meant. Like, if he has anything else to say before I move on to the council's questions or comments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because, I mean, we have a lot of councils. Okay. No, out of uranium. Queen. No. Green. Probably asleep. Fire.
Would this be now the time to read what Dark said? Or
Yes. To make it clear, if anyone had missed it, Dark is unable to attend and has appointed Fizz as his representative during these proceedings.
Yeah. So this is what he had messaged me and what wishes to be said directly to you. In no way, shape, or form.
Hold on a second. Sorry, I'm turning you up. Go ahead.
In no way, shape, or form is this acceptable for a member of a management team to not only promote NSFW in a public channel, but it is also highly inappropriate for them to attempt to recruit people for activities, voice acting, or anything of a lewd nature in a public area. That is all he had said to me. As for myself, I was the one there, Mantis, that heard everything.
Yes, sorry. I can't get your name.
I get it. I don't really care, but what I heard was disgusting to be any part of it. No one should be saying that or anything or even suggesting that type of work in a public setting. I'm not saying that because we were in a public chat. Somebody from a young age could have joined and heard all of it. That is a big no-no, and that is something we've been trying to avoid. As for Toast, I don't know if you know, but she is practically a daughter to me. And as soon as I started hearing this shit, I was tempted I didn't hunt you down. But I know for a fact that wouldn't have changed anything. What happened? Disgusting. Any respect I had for you in the beginning? Gone. As far as I'm concerned, you need to pick a different line of work. Or let alone not promote this shit ever. That's my piece.
Turtle, do you have anything else you'd like to say to him directly?
Be a little bit long.
All right. I'll just wrap up by saying that I believe we can all agree that members of this Discord and group should have every expectation to be able to be in our public setting, be here in our chats and voice channels without the expectation of being solicited for sexual or unusual activities such as these. Soliciting people for really anything like this, even if it was of a sexual nature, I believe is a misuse of your position. Management to members, there's a certain power dynamic and things like that come with it. As of this second, that may not be so much of an issue, but as this group grows and becomes more influential, this would be a much larger concern. And I think this mentality is something that absolutely needs to be reflected on somebody we are considering or having in any position of authority or leadership in a group. I find this behavior inexcusable, and it shows a complete lack of forethought for the well-being of everybody involved here. That is my stance, and I will hand things over to Turtle.
That's the end of that audio.
And I presume you'd like me to clarify some of the key points. I'd like to point out that in that audio clip, it's made clear that Toast was not even a member of staff during any of this time. She was just a community member, and that Mantis claimed there was no harm, showing a complete still lack of understanding of the importance of not recruiting for porn in the 13+ community, especially without verifying somebody's age. And he even agreed that this wasn't a private issue. He acknowledged that this was public and acknowledged the potential risks involved. And I would just like that highlighted because it shows his train of thought, pattern of how he operates, etc. I think the evidence largely speaks for itself, Your Honor, so I'm going to rest my case on that.
All right. Mantis, you get now cross-examine. Sorry. Storming.
Okay.
Fuck, I'm getting sick.
I would like to first bring up the timestamp for the initial cutoff of my voice. and hopefully have it played.
What's the initial
precise
cutoff?
elaborate?
The cutoff at my voice, the timestamp when I said that if it needed to be required.
If you're talking about my written timestamps, the entire audio clips were played in court today. The timestamps were just to highlight what I was focusing on. It's not out of context.
No, I'm not saying it's out of context. I'm just saying I would like to put it to that point. Anyway, that point I would like to ask Grim, prior to me stating that sentence that I would ask if it needed to be required. Did I not make any? No. Better question. Hadn't I made an argument stating that they did not need to be verified?
You're asking, did you make an argument they didn't need to be verified?
Yes.
Yes, you made a clear argument that you don't believe they needed to be a verified 18 plus. You claimed that unverified 18 plus was sufficient.
And with that being said, do you not remember in those videos me making a statement that we already had a system?
That was never proven to be a valid system and evidence provided, and even so, Toast did not partake in that system. No ID was sent to Turtle in this proposed alleged system you bring up, so I don't see how it's relevant.
Yes.
If that were our
Okay,
system, Toast would still be an unverified 18 plus user.
Yeah, that's okay. I just need to make sure that you heard that I said that.
I did hear that.
Next thing. Sorry, I'm going through the timestamp. You had just recently stated that Toast was just a member of the community.
At the time of events, Toast was just a member of the community. She was not a member of staff. She did not hold any position on Hydra staff. These days, she is currently acting as a moderator.
Okay. And in one of these wordings, prior to this, did Toast have any connection to the staff?
She has friendships with several staff members, yes.
Are there any of the friends in this courtroom currently?
I can speak for myself and say that I am a friend of Toast. These days, she's now a member of staff, so she's likely made more friends. Some of them may be in the jury. At the time of events, I can't state whether Queen or Turtle would view her as a friend, as they haven't actually known each other long at this point. It's outside my scope to answer that.
In the recording, had I made a statement that I was introduced?
Yeah, should I say that?
Queen and Toast through Turtle.
I can't recall if you claim to have met Toast through Turtle.
Excuse me. Just a moment. Mantis, you could just ask us directly if we're Toast's friends.
Then, sorry, I'm not used to asking the judge himself, judge and bailiff himself. Queen Turtle, are you friends with Toast?
Yes, I like to think that I am.
As of right now, me and her are friends. But at the time of meeting her, I actually was not friends with her during when this happened a year ago.
If I may request clarification on Queen's answer, is your friendship referring to current or previous events in question?
I wasn't like currently friends with her last year.
Were you friends with her in this incident?
No, I was not.
Thank you, Your Honor.
But you had but you had acquaintance with her. You knew her.
I wouldn't say knew her. She was barely introduced to me.
And for Turtle?
Sorry, I gotta lower my headset so it doesn't audio clip. Actually, I didn't like Toast when this incident happened. Me and her were not friends. So, no, we weren't friendly, and I was acquainted with her, but we were definitely not friends.
That's okay. Just needed to know that you knew her connections to the friend group prior to the creation of the tribunal.
I was aware.
Would that go for Queen as well? Queen?
Yes, I know. Go ahead.
Sorry, I can't see it well. Okay. So with that, we understood that, one, we knew Toast's connection, not only as just a community member, but also within the friend group of the founding members. And also previously stated that my reasoning for, or previously stated that my reasoning for not requesting ID was that under the alleged impression that we had a system where anyone with the role had already given one. Would that be a fair statement to make?
Who are you asking this question?
Sorry, forgot. Grim.
I can't know exactly what was through your train of thought. You alleged that you believe there was a system that Toast submitted ID to, or not Toast, but anyone could submit ID to Turtle to be age verified.
So you confirmed that I was under an alleged.
No, I can't prove that you have any assumption that Toast was included in this. You just alleged that there was a system. I can't speak for you currently or past tense, but there is. You never claimed that you believe Toast submitted her ID to Turtle. And also, if we're going off of, if I can speak freely, I do recall that I believe you were a part of assisting setting up the actual age verification system at the time of these incidents. So you should be aware that there was no such system. Of course, I can't speak for you, but that is how I recall events. So no, I would not say it was safe to operate under assumption that you believed Toast gave her ID to Turtle.
Can I please state that he set up the ticket bot?
Of me stating under the assumption that we did have such system.
Just a butt in. You were the one who set up the ticket bot, correct?
In my recollection, yes, through the ticket.
Fix it,
to make things automated.
For the record, I'd like to clarify that the ticket bot is the system we use for age verification in Hydra Tribunal Discord.
I would also like to clarify for the system, the ticket bot, right? It's not a mandatory thing, so not everybody age verifies through it. But you can manually, anybody can click unverified 18 plus in our server to say that they're 18 plus, but they're not verified yet. That's why people go through the process, which I had you do because I had no technical knowledge at the time of how to do that.
Yes, but my question still stands. Did I not say that we had a system?
You claimed there was a system, though no other council members present will recall such a present system.
That is all I need to hear.
Oh.
That being said, continuing to read through the timestamps, I do not have any need to cross-examine the video.
You're good, buddy.
But I would like to bring them up after I bring them up again after I submit my evidence.
That's fine. Now, if you're ready, you may present your evidence.
Please note for the record, I'd like to state that the screenshot evidence provided has been converted into VRChat plus stickers for ease of viewing.
Okay, thank you. What'd you say, Turtle? When you have to respond for that? Or she said she's gonna walk a change, she gotta turn on her life. I gotta teach you how to turn your walk animation off.
The desk might not allow for sticker placement. You may need to use a wall.
Oh, might turn around. Oh shit. Okay. For the people in the jury and defense and prosecution, you may fly your cameras over to look at the evidence on the wall. Defense, would you like to explain what this is before we switch to the next one?
That is one of the 5 images used. That is one of the screenshots of my DMs with the victim. Using that to put a perspective in which I state that things were not as harmful.
That's not what I
as
asked.
they were stated. Is there more than just the one? I can only see.
You can come closer.
That is not what I asked.
With the camera?
All right. So let me repeat myself. That's not what I really asked. I'm asking you, what is this that you sent to the victim in the screenshot?
Oh, what I had sent is a Friday Night Funkin'.
Don't you snap your fingers?
Mod that she could have played because she had admitted she was a fan of the game.
So I'm going to sit here and read it out. Friday Night Funkin', truly wrong high effort. GF just found out she's pregnant with BF's child. She's been waiting all day to surprise him, and she can't wait to see what he would think. But when she opened the door, she made a horrible discovery. A Friday Night Funkin' FNF mod.
Yes, that is one of the mods that I had sent for her to play.
inappropriate mod.
Permission to speak freely.
Hold on. Let me ask a question. When did you send this to her?
On September 12th.
Okay. Right. That's all right. You may speak freely now.
Okay. The context of the description is not what is to be focused on. What is what I had given her was one of multiple Friday Night Funkin' mods between both the DMs and the at the time VC chats that she had used, downloaded, and played.
So he's saying he sent this in the public VC chat as well.
Description on its own, out of context.
Am I getting it right?
Description on its own, out of context, may be deemed inappropriate, but that is not what.
Let me clear something up real quick. So you saying that you sent it in a VC chat? Are you claiming that you sent it in the public VC chat as well?
No, I'm saying that I was telling her the names of the mods. And
that's not what he said, though.
She'd pull them up, download them, and play them.
If I may, I'd like to ask for 2 clarifications on this piece of evidence.
You may.
So where was this image sent then? Where is this in private messages or is this in the Discord?
Yes, private messages.
VC? Okay. Also, what is your time zone so I can get a gauge on when this occurred? Because this actually occurred on the day of the reported harassment.
Yes.
Eastern Standard. Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to the next one. Sir, please. For the people that are in the court, jury, you may bring your camera over. Oh, shit. So, before I read it out loud, would you like to explain to me what you have sent to Toast?
That is a YouTube video of a meme song. About an hour after that first Friday Night Funkin' song. I would like to state for the court that we've been in that VC, it's been established that we've been in that VC for over an hour as we have both been listening and playing both Friday Night Funkin' and YouTube music.
Right. So the YouTube link you have sent is labeled as payload circulation, re-up, resize, spell check, with a very questionable end. What the hell is that, Turtle? It looks like, I thought it was an anime girl, like she was spreading it.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Can you clarify?
To my knowledge, the image looked very weird. But she said it like this, I thought those were legs. My apologies on that.
So can you once again reiterate?
The fuck you want me to reiterate? You want me to reread it? Is that what you're asking me?
No. Your Honor, you made a comment about its potential inappropriacy. Now that you had a closer look.
Never said inappropriacy. It's a questionable. Because from my angle, it looks a bit strange.
She's claiming it's weird. It's not inappropriate. It's weird.
It's a meme. Can you describe what you're looking at, Your Honor? Can you describe the image?
I don't know what that is. Could you describe what I'm looking at?
Yes. If it pleases the court, I would like to describe it. It is an anime girl. It is a screen cap of opening credits to an anime. Whereas in this scene, an anime girl is tying a band over her head. But the video that is a meme had put Soldier 76 from Overwatch over her face.
Alright. Okay, now I can see it. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it now. Alright, so the text at the bottom that host replied with from the video.
Not a reply.
You've been abandoned in there. Good. With a frowning emoticon.
Not a reply, Your Honor. That is over an hour.
Is there any more? All right. The next piece of evidence Cole has responded with long. He's just getting meds with a video that Toast sent, which appears to be Markiplier.
Yes. To provide context, this and the aforementioned abandoned comment is reference to witness Judge Biz leaving the voice call that he and I were in to get medication.
Yes.
On seeing that Toast mentioned, Toast states that I have been abandoned. I say that he was just getting meds as he had told me. And she has responded with a meme video of Markiplier maniacally laughing.
Okay. Yeah, I don't. Next one, please. Fuck. I need to get my glasses on.
Before we continue, where are the other images?
In my thing,
The first two images of our DMs.
I still have them in my thing. I'm going in order.
We are not in order. The first image was the Friday Night Funkin' Live, which was third on the list.
It's in the same order that we sent them in the chat.
Yes, and I am looking at the chat right now. The first image is the beginning of our DMs.
For clarification, is this DMs between you and Turtle or our discovery?
In our discovery, one where you see it as well. On this piece, we have a one-sided conversation from Toast, as it is claimed that she did not have voice chat available at the time. So she is responding to a conversation coming from, when asked, was told, when asked by Turtle, I was told conversation between Toast, Biz, Dark, and Jack, and Ghosty. From this conversation, I would like to imply that on this, I would like to state to the court that on this screenshot, there's an implication that Toast is responding to a question that is asked of her, meaning that Toast herself did not bring up my misconduct.
Why would the victim bring up the misconduct?
Someone who,
if you know that they're uncomfortable.
Cannot verify.
Am I allowed to interject or speak freely this time?
You may before I butt in.
I'm West. It was brought to my attention that there were pickup lines and some unusual things stated prior to VC, if I recall, by Biz. And Toast was there, and Toast was at work at this time, and she was messaging us while we sat in a separate VC outside Hydra, and I was asking her more or less what happened, what occurred, trying to get a story, and I may have been relaying this to Turtle at this point. I can't be certain on the exact timeline, but I was getting her report, and at some point I believe I told her just to go ahead and block him while we go through this investigation, all that. She even mentions here she attempted to call him. I believe the call shown, based on time, the call shown in that Markiplier piece of evidence is actually her attempting to block him, just to give a reference on when this is all transpiring. If memory serves, I was the one who was asking the questions involved on this. It was simply to get her side of the story because there was a report of some strange talking in the VC.
Okay, thank you. Now, with that in mind, I would like to pay attention. Point
what the fuck did I say?
The second circle, in which it is saying where Toast is saying, quote, yeah, when you guys left, he kept saying pickup lines, and it baffled me that he kept saying them in front of my boyfriend. For that, I would like to introduce, to that statement, I would like to introduce Fiz's testimony.
Right, so I never got that. That's my question. We're gonna slightly back up back to where you stated. I don't know, what did he say? He stated that. Right. Thank you. So you stated that. Fuck! I forgot again. Damn it, Turtle.
You stated that you get like a hold of the accuser, and because it was kind of like weird how you stated everything and how it's like one-sided. And we were talking, and our question was, why would the victim, who's scared and does not want to make contact with you, report something if she's scared that our group is going to react badly if you're in power in our group? Why would the victim speak up?
In the screenshot, does it say that she is scared?
What do you mean? You mean the testimony that I read out earlier that said she was uncomfortable with being around you in the group?
Yes, but in the initial report, right there, in that screenshot.
Oh, he's talking about this one.
Grim just stated that he was the one conversing with her.
Okay, let's read through this. Oh no.
Let me see.
Yeah, Mantis is a bit weird. Yeah, when you guys left too, he kept saying pickup lines and stuff, and it baffles me that he kept saying them in front of my boyfriend. Yes, but he asked me last night if I wanted to. Last one, when she blocked you. Bro, I just accidentally called him while I was trying to block him. None of that would hint at her discomfort with you? None of that?
Discomfort. You said that she was scared to speak with me. Is that not what you stated?
I
That's the
stated
same
that
thing.
as of now, and that's in the testimony. But in that time, she stated she was uncomfortable with you. And that she wanted to block you, and she did block you.
Okay, under Grimm's recommendation.
Not under Grimm's recommendation.
Is Grimm not?
Under her choice.
Grimm not just asked us.
Would you like me to answer that?
You may, please.
Go ahead.
It was also recommended, but that is not her only motivation. She did express genuine discomfort. I simply asked to basically cut communication between you two because there was now an ongoing investigation, and I didn't want anything to get worse.
So
Just
you
like you were
admit that you
sequestered
just
as well
asked.
during these reports.
You admit that you asked for her to block me.
I didn't ask her to. I said that it's probably a good idea.
I remember the conversation like it was yesterday. She said that she was going to block you. Grimm said that you should probably do that. That's it. That's not him recommending it. She was already doing it.
He said that. Here in the note it says that she was unable to verbally talk.
This isn't the only time.
At the time because she was out.
How many other conversations were there?
It was one long extended conversation. These screenshots, and these are multiple, cut up, says yesterday, 7:51, then 8 o'clock, then 8:11, then 8:19. So this span did over 30 to 40 minutes. Those are just the screenshots that I put up there.
The VC then had to leave for work or something along those lines.
Yes, she VC went to work, came back in the VC muted, but was typing. That was the story across all boards.
When I asked for Toast's testimony, I was given this document right here and her testimony as of today. Are you saying that there
Yes.
was more conversations that were not recorded?
That's all I could provide. I could not provide recorded evidence if I was not there. This is the evidence I provided you. It's all the evidence that's in the case file is what you gave us back.
He's reaching to make us look incompetent. The reality is, he was given a full case file containing 4 witness testimonies, his own admission, and had over 3 hours to prepare. He was explicitly informed of the charges beforehand. When he was brought in, he clearly understood the case was about Toast. We had multiple conversations leading up to it. For him to now claim that we withheld evidence is absurd, especially when his very first so-called damning piece of evidence was nothing more than a Friday night funkin' mod he had sent her.
Yes, this is all that I requested as much, and this is all you've given me. Are you saying that there is more that you have not yet given me?
I don't have it. There's no video evidence. I give you everything that I have.
And you are currently using the evidence you do not have to argue against the evidence I do?
If I may interject.
You may.
We were all on some level directly involved. It's understandable that we can also speak from our own personal experiences, even if something wasn't completely documented. This is also about a year ago, so there's always going to be some degree of, this is going to be hard to completely lay out flat.
Very clear. You asked the question, I answered. There was more conversation even existing.
With that, Queen, you said you had a question, or did you already ask it?
I already asked.
Right, then I would like to bring up Biz's testimony.
You may.
Is that the next piece of evidence we have here, which is the case report?
No, the video recording of the testimony, which will be...
That's the first video or the second one?
I'm checking.
Just like Grimm wrote timestamps, I think that should have been like the focus.
You had mentioned there. Just have to reply timestamps, but the video itself is not in the Discovery VC. I can post it, but...
Everything in the Discovery VC is what's allowed to be presented in the court. This was explained to you. If it's not in the Discovery VC, he did not see it. Can't do anything about that. That was explained to you. I repeated yourself like 6 times, and before we started, I even pulled you aside and asked you if you had any questions, and you're all set and ready to go.
Yes, you said that there were videos where all the videos, the recorded video of the trial would be available.
I said all the sent-in videos. Are you talking about Fiz's testimony with Grimm? What are you talking about?
The recorded testimony before my bringing into the VC call for my trial as Fizz testifying all that had happened.
Oh, all of those testimonies aren't until witness. No. Then those are witness. I need your evidence.
Yes. That witness testimony is evidence.
Are you serious?
You have to wait till witness stage of the trial. So move on from whatever you're trying to claim right now, and then you can make your point during witness, because everything is organized the way it is, so I could do my job and actually do stenography here. But I can't keep up if we jump around.
Okay. Then, yes, we can play the video.
Mm-hmm.
Caused.
No harm has been caused. Take a step back. If you are in this call right now, there has been harm caused. I hope you understand that. For the sake of Hydra, and for the sake of this girl, that even though you feel you have not harassed her, asking multiple times when someone says no, that's harassment. She's not even part of the moderation team. It's not even something that happened within this group. It happened publicly.
Yes.
Grim.
Here. Do you know why I'm thinking that this is a no harm situation, or I feel that there's no harm?
I'll give you that chance, but you have 2 minutes. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm at that point where I'm very angry with you.
After I asked her, and after she had said no, we had been sitting in the VC hour, just listening to music, sending back and forth memes, music, FNF mod animations or whatever. After I asked that question, and after they said no, at no point did I ever see, or did they ever state that there was some sort of ill content. I understand that what I've done, I understand clearly in the wrong. I am a part of a bigger, I'm no longer on my own. I'm a part of a bigger group now, and I'm supposed to represent something that is supposed to be better than it was previously. So I wholeheartedly apologize for my actions.
Before we continue, does anybody want to say their piece? Because I'm going to say something, but before I say it, we have to vote, and we have to do all that. Before we continue, is that the last thing you have to say, Mantis?
Well, let's memo really quickly. Just give, if any of the council members have a question or statement for Mantis, how about we get that out of the way first before hearing Mantis' last words on this before we rule.
No, that's what I meant. Like, if he has anything else to say before I move on to the council's questions or comments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, we have a lot of councils. Okay. No, out of uranium. Queen. No. Green. Probably asleep. Fire.
Would this be now the time to read what Dark said? Or
Yes. Yes.
To make it clear, if anyone had missed it, Dark is unable to attend and is appointed as representative during these proceedings.
Yeah. So this is what he had messaged me and what wishes to be said directly to you. In no way, shape, or form.
Hold on a second. Sorry, I'm turning you up. Go ahead.
In no way, shape, or form is this acceptable for a member of a management team to not only promote NSFW in a public channel, but it is also highly inappropriate for them to attempt to recruit people for activities, voice acting, or anything of a lewd nature in a public area. That is all he had said to me. As for myself, I was the one there, Mantis, that heard everything. Yes, sorry, I can't get your name. I get it. I don't really care, but what I heard was disgusting to be any part of it. No one should be saying that or anything or even suggesting that type of work in a public setting. I'm not saying that because we were in a public chat. Somebody from a young age could have joined and heard all of it. That is a big no-no, and that is something we've been trying to avoid. As for Toast, I don't know if you know, but she is practically a daughter to me. And as soon as I started hearing this shit, I was tempted that I didn't hunt you down. But I know for a fact I wouldn't have changed anything. What happened? Disgusting. Any respect I had for you in the beginning? Gone. As far as I'm concerned, you need to pick a different line of work. Or let alone not promote this shit ever. That's my piece.
Turtle, do you have anything else you'd like to say to him directly?
Be a little bit long.
Alright. I'll just wrap up by saying that I believe we can all agree that members of this Discord and group can have every expectation to be able to be in our public setting, be here in our chats and voice channels without the expectation of being solicited for sexual or unusual activities such as these. Soliciting people for really anything like this, even if it was of a sexual nature, I believe is a misuse of your position. Management to members, there's a certain power dynamic and things like that that come with it. As of this second, that may not be so much of an issue. As this group grows, it becomes more influential. This would be a much larger concern. And I think this mentality is something that absolutely needs to be reflected on somebody we are considering or having in any position of authority or leadership in a group. I find this behavior inexcusable, and it shows a complete lack of forethought for the well-being of everybody involved here. That is my stance, and I will hand things over to Turtle. It's been caught.
That's the end of the audio. Hello?
It's supposed to be asking where, like,
The end of the audio?
that piece of, yes, that is the end of the audio. That clip, the court case, I have more parts. One point, Turtle said that harm had been caused. At a later point, I'd like to revisit the statement for a more in-depth review after examining all pieces of evidence. And later in the video, we have statements from a listed written statement from Dark, followed by a vocal statement from Judge Witness Fizz, in which he states he holds the victim, the Fizz, as if it's his. He holds a close connection to Toast, the victim, as if she were his daughter. I would like to use that statement as reason to believe that there was a very clear bias, even if they were there to witness, which of its own is something that has come to question for the voting.
Did you just say
Okay.
bias? Give her a moment. Her headset died. Give her a moment. Her headset died. But she's right there. But bias? Yeah.
Okay. Do you need clarification on what you proclaim as bias? Sir?
I clarify? Yes.
No, do you want clarification?
No.
No. Okay. What everybody is about to hear is the case report. It's the official case report for the Hydra Tribunal for Mantis's case. It is reported as case report number 1 of the Hydra Tribunal. Accused tag, Colonel Mantis. Accused real name, redacted. Accuser tag, that one crab toast. Accuser real name if known, name redacted. Charges against accused: sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, abuse of position, general misconduct, and disregard for the well-being of the group and its members. Witnesses: Fire Fizz and Dark Luxury. Video evidence: yes. Video admission. Accused plea: not guilty. Did the victim wish to speak to the accused? No. If no, why? Due to the nature of sexual misconduct, the counsel decided not to require Toast to face the accused. It was believed that offering the option might lead to Toast to agree out of the desire to appease others rather than genuine consent. The counsel opted to prioritize Toast's protection and act in a morally responsible manner, recognizing that Toast's tendency to accommodate could compromise her own well-being. Incident summary. On 9/12/2024 at 7:40 p.m., Grimm was informed by staff members about an incident that occurred in the public voice channel of the Hydra Tribunal. Dark Luxury and Fire Fizz briefed at Grimm on the situation. By 8 p.m., one of the server owners at Turtle was notified and promptly took action by temporarily banning Mantis while initiating an investigation. Mantis was informed of the investigation at 8:12 p.m., and it was notified of a mandatory disciplinary meeting with the Hydra Council at 9:19 p.m. The meeting took place at 12 a.m. 9/13/24. During the meeting, Mantis expressed confusion about the situation and invoked his right to information under the Freedom of Information Act, FOIA. He was then informed of the charges against him and his right to remain silent. Due to the personal connection between the accused at Mantis and one of the server owners at Turtle, the decision was made to transfer leadership of the crisis to at Grimm to ensure impartiality. This was done to prevent any bias and to uphold at Mantis's right to a fair trial by counsel. Investigation details. Through interviews, it was confirmed that both the accuser and the accused provided consistent accounts of the incident, with minor discrepancies in details. On 9/11/2024, at Toast and at Mantis interacted casually in the Hydra voice channel. At the time, Mantis was unaware of Toast's age, which remains unverified as 18 plus in the server. During a discussion about their professions, at Mantis mentioned his not safe for work audio editing side job, using at Turtle's name to make it more appealing to at Toast. At Toast declined and offered the offer politely, and they continued their interaction in the public voice channel. On 2024, Mantis and Fire Fizz were in the Hydra public voice channel. Fizz inquired about Mantis's activities, and Mantis mentioned his not safe for work audio editing. He then asked Fizz if he knew any females with lower registered voices who might be interested. Fizz declined. Shortly thereafter, Toast joined the channel while playing the VR game Beat Saber. When Toast commented about being tangled in her headset cords, Mantis made a sexual remark. "I didn't know you were into bondage." This comment was ignored, and Toast continued playing. Later, Mantis made another sexual comment, "And now I know that you're also loud," following Toast's scream. Toast asked Mantis to stop and expressed her discomfort, which he did momentarily. Later, Mantis, Fizz, Toast, and Ghost, Toast's boyfriend, played Fortnite together. Mantis expressed boredom and started reading pickup lines from a book, all directed at Toast. Despite Ghost's attempt to deflect, the group had repeatedly expressed discomfort, leading to the cessation of the pickup line reading. They stopped. When the group disbanded, leaving Toast and Mantis alone in call. Toast mentioned being broke, and Mantis offered to commission her for not safe for work voice acting, citing that at Turtle had done similar work. Toast declined again and left the call. She then detailed the incident to Fizz, who contacted Dark, both reaching out to Grimm, and the matter was escalated to Turtle. The investigation proceeded up the chain of command. Outcome. Mantis admitted to the accusation but pleaded not guilty. The counsel, surprised by his plea, attempted to explain the wrongdoing. Mantis was moved to the waiting room while the vote was conducted. The counsel unanimously found him guilty, and the discussion of his punishment was left up to the owners. Both owners agree that Mantis' behavior was inappropriate, but decided against a harsh penalty for a first offense, initially proposing a 30-day ban with the option for appeal. Council members felt this was insufficient, leading to an extended 60-day ban. The final decision was a permanent demotion and a 60-day appealable ban. Mantis objected and sought to explore the possibility of returning to the council. Although no vote was held, he was informed that any potential return would require significant evidence of change and would be highly unlikely. The ban commenced on 9/13/2024 and will be lifted on 11/12/2024, 11 p.m. EST. Mantis has since reached out, stated he was undergoing therapy, and apologized for his actions. Ban has been extended to 6 months due to the outrage within the community staff at his actions and lack of acceptance. That's it. That's the full thing.
Yes. Do I make my statement? This is my full court case report for my court proceeding. I would like to bring up moments, written statements on this document that lets me state that there are contradictories between what some have said, between the victim, to some witness testimony, and to bring up what I have aforementioned as to not harmful behavior, or under the impression of not harmful behavior.
All right.
Continue to give examples, or do we move on
All
to the
right.
next
He can
piece?
continue. It's up to him.
Yeah, you can continue. It's up to you.
One example is one of the recording testimonies stating that while the case report had stated that I had suddenly started reading out of nowhere, one of the recorded testimonies had agreed that I had asked permission and had gotten permission by all the available witnesses. All the available witnesses before proceeding to read from the pickup lines book.
I could barely hear anything that you said.
More, but I think that's supposed to be on for another piece at a later.
The last evidence I have here is a video. Did you still want me to play that?
RDMs. Also RDM.
Because my other account is dead, I can no longer put them up, but I will read them out loud, and Mantis, correct me if I read anything else out loud incorrectly. Okay?
Okay.
Alright. So the next thing is RDMs. Mantis, 9/12/2024, 8:01 p.m. Give me that schedule. Turtle. Me, 9/12/2024, 8:10 p.m. We need to talk. Mantis, okay? Turtle. At this time, an investigation has been put out. You will be added back in the server shortly. At 8:12 p.m. I said that. At 8:13 he goes, should I be worried? Sorry. At 9:19 p.m. I say, please be informed that you are required to attend a mandatory disciplinary meeting with the Hydra Council. The meeting will take place at 12:30 a.m. EST, which is in the next 3.5 hours. At Hydra, we are committed to ensure your right to a fair trial, the opportunity to defend yourself, and the right to confront your accusers. Please be aware that the meeting will proceed in your absence, and failure to attend will forfeit your opportunity to speak. In Hydra, we trust. Mantis, at 9:25 p.m. For the sake of a fair trial, I'd like to protest for knowledge on what grounds insist on a mandatory disciplinary hearing, as well as its preceding investigation. me at 9:39 p.m. Your charges include sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, abusive position, general misconduct, and a significant disregard for the well-being of the group and its members. Although we currently lack textual evidence, we have initiated witness interviews and will also question the accuser. As previously mentioned, you have the right to contest these allegations. However, we strongly advise you to carefully consider your approach. Please be aware that you have the right to remain silent, and anything you say or do during this process may be used against you. Do you want me to continue reading the next one?
Yes.
9/13/2024 at 12:13 a.m. I sent him an invite to the group. He couldn't join. He says being banned before the investigation goes against the rights to a fair trial. At 12:15 a.m. I say, no, it's not a proper ban. It's like detainment. For some reason, we couldn't time people out during the investigation. 12:15 a.m. instantly he answers, you could have simply removed my roles. Being the owner gives you that ability. I say, I was at work when everything happened. I did what I saw I was able to do. Mantis at 12:17 a.m. You're not the only owner. Queen could have been told. I didn't talk to her, but I'm sure you could have. I said at 12:18 a.m. You do not need to be mean about how I handled it. The fact that you were getting a trial is enough. Queen would have done the same thing. I did text her. 12:18 a.m. You'll have to forgive me. Before the sudden ban, I was about to add a number to the count channel. So what happens now? Do I have 10 minutes to find my sexual misconduct before trial? ? I say at 12:22 a.m. Jump into the VC. I will put you in the waiting room temporarily. I myself am just getting home. 1:51 a.m. I'd like to talk again in a week. Until then, I'm going to need some counseling. At 1:53 a.m. I still care for you and I wish the best. I will be here when you do come back. Those are the end of my DMs with you.
The read out DMs are what I'm going to be using to establish that the immediate sudden banning goes against my right to a fair trial, as I was not allowed to investigate the trial that was about to happen. Upon my statement before, I was given the answer that having a trial is reason enough. It's good enough.
Is that all you had to say?
That's all I have to say for the DMs. There's also the other video.
Alright, I'm going to play the last video that we have for his evidence.
Break into multiple.
Yeah. There we go. You can continue.
Do we have any questions or anything we'd like to go over now that he is out of the room? Alright.
I know my vote.
As someone who has been informed of all these things and was kind of brought onto the case, I'm practically taking up the helm that is prosecution here. I would like to assert that I believe that this behavior is inexcusable, whether it is of a malicious or an incompetence or just simple uncaring, whichever you want to label it. I believe this sort of behavior is inexcusable and far too dangerous to be ignored. And I believe that this sort of behavior and those involved should not be allowed in any capacity in this group or server. But for now, we are simply going to vote on the innocence or guilt of the accusations. The actual sentence on what will happen will be decided by Queen and Turtle. In the event that they cannot decide or have a draw, they will revert to a council vote where the majority will decide the sentencing. So with that out of the way, either verbally say or write in the staff chat whether you are voting for innocence or for guilt. I am voting for guilt.
Get up there! That nigga is get up there!
Two in favor of guilt.
Me and Dark favor guilt.
4 in favor of guilt.
Guilt.
5 in favor of guilt.
Uranium.
as much as I hate to say guilty.
All right. Turtle?
Yeah, you know my answer. Guilty.
And as per the code of conduct, when we are voting on something like this, the member in question is ineligible to vote, so Mantis's vote is null and void. So we have unanimously proclaimed as a council here today on September 13th that Mantis is guilty of all charges presented. Now, the sentencing will be decided by Queen and Turtle.
I don't know about
How do you wish to proceed?
I don't know about you, Queen. This hurts me so much because I care about the guy. First of all, demodded instantly. Definitely not representing our group. But I think we should put a temporary ban on him until he fixes stuff up. If he shows up to the courts and is an active member and tries to mend his ways, maybe he could join back into the Discord. Because I do feel like he has ability to change. But I do think he should be removed immediately.
If I may say a word.
Yes.
Yes.
I, with heavy heart, am saddened by the event, and I would personally request, if you would so hear my word, to understand that he is guilty. And he needs a temporary removal. This is a time where I would be one to say to give a second chance at the bottom of the barrel. As someone of a religious background, I cannot help but feel pity and a form of loss. I am hurt, and I am again a firm believer in second chances, so I do ask, please, if you may, after the removal, let him back in under supervision and extreme precaution. And that he hopefully does change his ways. You do not need to specifically accept my term or accept my question. But I do ask that you just give him some little bit of pity in your heart.
In the interest of leniency, I would say that an appropriate sentence as a proposal would be stripped of rank, the ban with the possibility of re-entry to the server, but never allowed in the leadership position that he currently holds again.
Agreed.
That would be a lenient option. The severe option, I would say, is just permanent removal with no chance of ever returning.
Well, all right. So, this is the thing. I agree with Uranium. I don't believe that we should condemn a man more than he's already been condemned. This meeting is definitely a mental toll on everybody who's involved. It's the loss of a friend, the loss of, co-worker. It's something that's very emotional, and it sucks. Instantly, obviously, he's losing his rank. Now, the ban part is the difficult part, because we need to make sure that the victim has the right amount of justice served in their behalf. The victim does not, as of right now, isn't able to say anything to the person who hurt them. So, personally, at the end of the day, it's what me and Queen choose. But personally, I feel like we should ban him. He can't come back in for a month, and he can appeal to come back in, and that's if he joins and is an active member of the community. With that being said, there's a severe warning given to him. If he joins back and we find out anything else, he is permanently banned and a case is brought up against him, because now he has not once, but now twice, put minors in danger. I do not joke when it comes to children. So I really think we need to be very careful. And this is coming from someone who's known him the longest here. So, personally, I don't want to be known as a pedophile group, or someone who harbors people who are willing to hurt children. So how do you feel about that, Queen? Temporary ban. He can appeal. And
Are we going to add an eligibility for future leadership?
He's not going to ever be manager. I think the maximum rank he could ever get in the server would be like mod.
I don't think he should even have mod, to be honest, after seeing his judgment. I don't trust in his sense of judgment or what's best for the group after everything we've heard and seen.
Alright, then we will...
Just putting that on the record.
Then,
I would recommend 60-day minimum to ensure that he has time to reflect and time to understand that he made a very, very bad decision and a very bad move, intentional or not.
Break into multiple.
Yeah, there we go. You can continue.
That's all for that audio.
With that audio, I would like to point out the, once again, points out, even with the remorse of part of the judges, another part should not have made that vote in its entirety, as one was a witness and another was not even there. That in of itself is highly questionable in the rights to a fair trial.
I'm lost.
Is he for real?
I'd be like, what do you mean one was not there?
Exactly. Like, is he talking about Dark and Fizz?
Yeah, ask, like, one was not there and what? And he needs to explain that. I'm lost. He lost me.
Could you explain who was not there that you're trying to specify?
I was told that, according to the video, Dark was not there as Fizz had voted on their behalf.
Dark was not in the meeting because he was at work and he appointed Fizz to vote for him.
And that would mean that the judge that is not in the meeting is voting. An absent judge should not be able to vote.
We understand that that's how you feel, but what was chosen ahead of time before the meeting was had was that Dark was allowed to appoint someone to speak on his behalf because he was a witness and had already voted before you had your case. If you compelled others to change their mind on the thing, we would not have allowed Fizz to continue representing Dark. But it continued, and it was, once again, still a unanimous vote for more clarity.
And that brings up another topic. Despite the fact that an absent judge is allowed to vote for a court that he was not able to hear or have an opinion of, or change his opinion of, depending on the testimony. There was also the witness testimony from a judge himself.
This isn't helping him at all.
I know this may be VR chat court, but legally speaking, a judge cannot be their own witness in a case, in any circumstance.
In that case, I can't be your witness today when you call someone up to the stand. It's redundant.
You are not a witness to the...
But I am a witness to what happened during that meeting. I am not the prosecution here, but it would be redundant to pull me up to the stand as a witness if you believe that a witness, aka Dark, or Fizz, shouldn't vote, especially when it wasn't even an actual court case. What it was disciplinary action within a group. You are getting a court case now because it's a ban appeal. That's two very different things.
Clocked it.
There is a written case against me with testimony, reports from everyone. Fizz, a witness to the very case that he's judging me against, was allowed a vote, in which case he should not have. For Dark, who was not there at the time, should not be able, because he wanted all of this to be in a court standpoint. Dark, Fizz, should not have been allowed to be allowed their vote if they are both a witness or absent from the original case proceedings against me and my misconduct.
Okay.
The fact that they were goes against fairness.
All right.
Turtle, you, on the other hand, were not a witness to my original. Accusation charges. You cannot say that you are redundant or unable to be a witness.
Okay, so let's for example, in this case, because once again, this is not like a court. This is all under Hydra policy and code of conduct, which I hope you guys read, because I did give you guys time to read our handbook and TOS. If we take Fizz and Dark out of the question, how about all of the other votes for your removal? That's still considered a unanimous vote.
We are not referring to the vote count. I'm referring to, is it fair that you allowed them?
Yes, because it was our policy at the time. Our policy clearly states that all counsel, as long as it's appointed ahead of time and nothing is brought up late, that people are allowed to speak. It was preemptive, but we had already talked to Dark, made sure that Dark appointed Fizz as what he represented. They were unhappy with how you conducted yourself, and our policy states that staff can go against staff. These council members, you were a council member. These council members did not like the way you conducted yourself and pleaded their case against you and voted. Our policy states that is possible, so there is no power dynamics.
This is a clear power dynamic, as you already have two. This is a clear case of power dynamic, as you're having both the judge be a witness to their own case. They have full testimony, they have their own recollection of the things that happened. Not to mention the fact that I myself had no representation on my own self. I had 10 minutes of preparation and could not prepare any true defense against myself until I got into that courtroom.
It is not my job as the bailiff and court reporter to argue back and forth or claim anything back and forth. What I am making clear on is the fact that our policy, our code of conduct clearly states that to make sure that there are no power dynamics, anybody on staff, whether it be junior moderator, admin, or council member, can bring up a case. The only people who cannot vote in their own case are the accused. That was stated, and that was something that was written. That was something that you had agreed to at the time. I cannot change the policy. That was the policy. If you believe that was unfair before your trial came across, you should have brought that up to our attention. I can't argue here with that. That is why Queen is being the impartial judge. But that is simply, that was the policy, and we followed it. We followed the rules. That's it.
To that I object. As someone who is the accused cannot vote, neither should the accuser.
At this point, Honor, can I object on the grounds that this is just purely argumentative? There's no point in arguing about what should be in our policy for staff at this point in time. It's irrelevant to the case to pursue this argument.
And I object to that. This is exactly what I am trying to point out. This is against my right to a fair trial. Because if the accused cannot vote on their own behalf, how can the accuser vote on theirs?
If I may speak freely, Your Honor.
You may.
You keep citing the right to a fair trial, and while of course the Hydra Tribunal is beholden to relevant laws, as in like the United States of America or whatever relevant jurisdiction, we won't commit illegal acts, felonious acts, anything of that nature. The internal governing body is not governed under any judicial law in the United States or otherwise. We are governed purely by the Code of Conduct, in which it clearly outlines our disciplinary process, which as a founding council member, you had a say on the writing of and put in any suggestions, etc. for, but that is what you were held accountable to during the time of your trial, and as of at any point. because that is all Hydra runs by, is our own code of conduct. This is an internal matter in a private group. This is a matter of policy, not a matter of legislation.
Because right now, to me,
it
seems like he's only circling around one thing.
It is already quoted that I expressed,
and that's him unfairly having
when I expressed my
rightful
right to know what I was being accused of.
I mean,
It was under the Freedom of Information Act, which is a legislation that is already used by the United States government. If that sort of thing is already being used, it cannot be simply picked, and it cannot just simply be picked apart for the courts, for the community courts' convenience. If you're going to pick one part of the government's act, you have to pick the rest of them.
That is where you are mistaken, because the freedom of information has no direct contradiction to our internal policy. You deciding who is and is eligible to vote on council matters based on legislation is in direct violation of our code of conduct. All council members, aside from the accused, are entitled to vote on the matter.
If they ask questions, speak for me real
There
quick.
is no legislation that overrides our internal policy on such matters.
Not going against anything that overwrites the rules. But you, as an individual, I would like to ask you, if you were accused and could not vote, is it fair that the person who did accuse you is allowed to?
Yes, because I am beholden to this policy that I agree to. You agreed to this policy when you became staff.
Policy he wrote, by the way.
And now it is come to argument as it is questionable. It goes against the rights to a fair trial as it is given the person the exact opposite advantage to what could be called a disadvantage.
I don't see how it's relevant. If the person had voted in favor of you, it would have given you an advantage. If this weren't a unanimous vote, maybe you could have some form of point, but this was also, again, a unanimous vote, which has been mentioned, I believe, 3 times now.
It does not matter if it was unanimous. I'm telling you, it is, even if it was unanimous, the trial that was given to me was not considered fair. With no investigation, with no...
I would also like to point at this point, Your Honor, I would like to object to any further discussion on this matter because we are here on trial for his ban appeal, not for the original ruling on whether he was guilty or not. I don't know what you were trying to argue at this point. I genuinely don't understand what you're arguing for.
My opening statements that not only alongside.
This is the time that I step in.
I wanted to point out that my original trial was unfair in nature.
Hey. We getting off topic. We going back and forth. We're bickering. We're not staying on the same pace that we need to be staying on. I need it to be fixed. No, one at a time. I don't need no talking over.
Your Honor, if I might just speak freely, he's been repeatedly allowed to talk about and ask and question the code of conduct, the method in which the council voted, etc. He's been told on more than one occasion that this was acceptable, this was agreed upon before the trial, this is our code of conduct, we're not beholden to any legislation. All relevant possible questions, etc. have been answered. At this point, it is purely argumentative. At this point, it is not just, potentially irrelevant, it's asked and answered.
This is true.
Your Honor, Your Honor.
You may speak.
This argument is my defense. To get rid of it combats the spirit of the law in which a person is entitled to prove that they were in any sort of way wronged when it came to his trial. I intend to give multiple points that accept it, multiple points to adhere to my statements.
I'm sorry, but everything that's coming out his mouth
tribunal
does not make sense. All I hear is rada.
Had all agreed. But as I am here now, one of the former ones have come to argue against the fact I should be allowed to do, as we are in a court where it is my defense.
Your Honor, if I may.
You may.
No one has removed his right to question these things. He's asked many questions. They've been answered. The reason I've been objecting is because it's become argumentative. It's become a long back and forth. All of his questions have been answered. We made it very clear on the matter. He has every right to question whether it was justified. These questions were allowed. No one stopped him from asking these questions. They have been answered, and I believe it's time we move forward in this trial. I believe at this point it is purely argumentative, and it is going nowhere.
Yes, I do agree on that because we've been here way longer than anticipated. All right. What we moving to? Well, we can't really do witnesses since he fucked himself over.
And we're allowing him to take it back. We shouldn't even allow that.
So, Mantis, are you going to retract the statement that you made about Dark and Fizz? Because if not, you cannot bring up Turtle as your witness.
Your Honor, Turtle is irrelevant to my argument against Dark and Fizz. Turtle's testimony is irrelevant to Dark and Fizz.
If I may, it's because there's been the prolonged argument now that somebody who was a direct witness or is serving as a witness should be ineligible voting. That was one of your arguments proposed.
I'm voting now.
And you were asking someone who is going to be voting to serve as a witness.
And it was in that same statement that I said that Turtle was not there for the initial crime, so she cannot be considered a direct witness. She is here to provide statements for the court case that we are now talking about.
But you were asking her to serve as a witness in a trial she is voting on.
I'll allow Turtle to be a witness.
Just give it to him. Just give it to him. Watch. All right. So ask him if the prosecution has any witnesses, but he told me he didn't.
Prosecution, do you have any witnesses?
I have no witnesses, Your Honor, though I will be cross-examining potentially his witness.
He's sitting on the table. Do I have to swear you in?
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh, hold on.
Turtle Smurtle. Turtle Smurtle. Ain't no Bible, so you can't really. Oh, there's a Bible, okay. Turtle Smurtle. Within this courtroom right now, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I solemnly do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Alright. You may proceed on with your questioning. And do remember, keep the argumentative. Hello?
Yes, Your Honor. May I approach?
Yes, you may.
Okay. Good evening, Turtle. How are you?
Well, we're here in court, so I don't know. As good as you.
I'm about to throw this fire at you.
We'll start simple. Can you recall our DMs?
Yeah, like it was just yesterday. I recall a lot of our DMs.
Can you recall our voice calls?
Yes.
Is that relevant?
Oh yeah, vividly.
Can you recall me one of these voice calls of that we had regarding the trial?
Yes, what in particular would you like me to recall?
About Ghost's involvement.
Can you explain it further?
Oh, yes, sorry. When we were in one of these VCs, and I wanted to argue against my case of a fair trial, I had brought up statements of which Toast had continued communications despite the aforementioned uncomfortable actions I had put against her.
I do remember this specific conversation. It was actually one of the more sad and worst conversations we've had about this case specifically.
Yes. Can you elaborate more?
Well, we hopped on a call and you felt as though it was unfair because she had reached out to you after the first time and there was nothing wrong. If you had known about her discomfort, then you would have stopped. But I quickly corrected you and said, well, she told you to stop the first time. Isn't that uncomfortable enough? You then continued to talk about how she never outwardly said that she was uncomfortable. Well, we talked back and forth about consent. And I don't remember every individual line that was said about that conversation about consent, but I do remember me saying that I understand why you could see that she was consenting in some way because she continued to interact with you, but after her blocking you and a meeting going up, it was handled within the same day or so that the issue was brought up. So that should have been enough to let you know that, wow, something was wrong. It wasn't like an ongoing issue that you never knew about and woe is me. It was something that was promptly handled. And we had a little bit of a disagreement, but overall we did talk about that specifically.
Thank you. Now we move on to testimonies. Can you recall Fitz's testimony?
I do recall Fizz's testimony.
Would you rather recount what you have heard, or would you rather play the recording of the testimony?
I can recount what I heard. And I mean, it'll be played later, but from my memory, he basically came in and said that you guys were playing games together. Toast ended up joining, and she was actually playing a game called Beat Saber. And that's why she ended up getting tangled in her cords. She was moving around a lot and got tangled in her cords. You had stated something sexual to her, and everybody kind of got quiet.
The bondage quote.
She asked you to stop. He explicitly states that she did ask them to, stop. Shortly after, she had done something and screamed fairly loud, as a lot of us have come to know that she does. And there was another joke right after, basically saying, "And now I know you're loud," which was interpreted not just by Fizz, but by everybody else who recounted their experience with me as something that was sexual, because they were back-to-back comments.
Okay. Now, in the testimony, in the investigation details, we say that it is stated that the bondage comment was ignored. Is that the correct statement?
I believe the bondage comment largely everybody else ignored. I'm unaware if Toast completely ignored it, but I know for a fact that Fizz and Ghosty didn't answer. They didn't want to step in for Toast.
So, Fizz and Ghost did not answer. And it's stated later that she said stop after the scream comment. Is that correct?
I wasn't there for everything. The witness testimonies told me that you had stated a comment, everybody got quiet, and then the last comment she actually told you to stop, as far as I'm aware.
I only need your recollection of the testimonies alongside the case investigation details.
Okay. As far as I'm aware, she only said stop after the scream comment, but that was the second time she had said stop to you within the last 2 days.
Can you continue his testimony?
that was pretty much it. He said that after that, he had really bad back problems, and he had to go to the hospital and hopes to get some medication, which was corroborated by everybody's testimony, including your own. And he left and joined his own private service call, in which I believe a kid named Jack and a few other people were in there. They were playing games, and Toast had joined and said that when he left and never came back, that was the experience that she had with you, and that was all the screenshots that were provided in the evidence portion of your side. He stated that when Toast said all of that, he pulled in Grim, told Grim the situation. There was some verbal conversation, and then Grim brought it up to my attention via text while I was at work, and that's when I acted.
You seem to be missing a segment of your testimony, or his testimony. That is the Fortnite.
I mean, I said that there was people playing games. I don't quite... like I said, I wasn't there. My testimony on what you guys physically were doing, I don't think matters.
I don't need your testimony. You're just recollecting his testimony. You were there to hear his, weren't you?
Yes, but that's what I recollect. I'm not looking down at the report right now. This is what I recollect. This report was made over a year ago.
Yes, and it was recorded. We have a record of the testimony.
Yes.
Audio record of the testimony that you have.
Yes.
Can you play it?
If you would like me to play it, I will, but it doesn't count as, like, my memory of the testimony. Just 1 second.
Exactly. Amendments that will be added to the code later. If you ask questions, you are free.
I'm trying to find it in our DMs now.
Oh, okay, I was about to say you're muted.
No, I'm trying to find it in our DMs. I have Ghosts'. Okay. Where? Okay. This is his testimony.
It's about to start things. Basically, uranium is being...
Not uranium, Mantis.
Not uranium, I'm sorry, my brain is fucking fried right now. Mantis is being charged with sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, misuse of his position, and completely disregarding the well-being of the group and all of its members. We have a victim, we have witnesses, we have testimonies, and I can assert that due to provided information from the victim, that this interaction with Mantis did 100% occur because they provided me with information that could only have been learned from that interaction with Mantis. Information I'm not going to disclose due to some privacy concerns, but basically this happened. We're going to decide on whether or not he should be held guilty and accountable over it, is basically what's happening. All right, Fizz, go ahead and explain what Toast has relayed to you and what you have witnessed.
Would you like me to explain it directly as how I did it to you?
Yeah, start with yours and then read Toast's, like, what she wrote to you and us in the Discord.
Okay.
Because unfortunately she's unable to appear at this time.
So, this morning, I didn't go into work today because I have a back problem and I had to go to the doctor's. So I decided to sit in the public and just chill. Mantis joined me. Mantis seemed fine at the moment. He said he was working on something. I figured, alright. If I'm going to be working with him, I might as well figure out what he's working on. He made mention that he was working on not safe for work content. Specifically the audio and stuff like that. He then got into very vivid detail on what the audio was and what exactly he does with it. After that, it was pretty much radio silent, besides the point of him asking, or him stating he needs voice actors for these things, and that he needed a woman with a lower register tone. And asked if I knew anybody. I politely declined. Then it went radio silent. Toast then joined. At this time, Toast was playing Beat Saber on her headset, and nothing happened for a good few minutes. She said hello, they said hello. It wasn't until Toast was going to join me on a different game, But as she was going to do so, she was going to do one more song on Beat Saber. She made the comment that she was getting wrapped up on her chords. Mantis said well, not really prompted, but basically said, I see you're into bondage. Toast, I don't know if y'all pretty much all interact with her, she proceeded to scream. And he decided to make another comment going, I see you are also loud as well. After that, she said stop. And then nothing as of that sexual nature happened for them. A little bit later on, Toast's boyfriend had joined. I made very clear to Mantis saying, hey, Toast, your boyfriend is here, to hopefully discourage him from going any further with this. It did not. Me, Toast, and her boyfriend were all about to play a game, and Mantis wasn't with us, but he would join us later on. He said, I'm bored. Do y'all want to hear me use pickup lines out of this book I have? We all said sure, and he immediately went straight with Toast. Not me, not her boyfriend, just straight to Toast. We made a comment about it, and it was very noticeably that he begrudgingly went to Toast's boyfriend because Toast was trying to, well, his name is Ghost. Ghost was trying to diffuse it and take the attention off of her onto him.
It's about to start things. Basically,
that was the testimony, but I didn't remember fully like everything he said because it was a year ago now that he said it.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Testimony states that I just suddenly started reading off directed at Toast, right?
He states in that video that you state that you're bored and you asked if people wanted to hear pickup lines, and the first person you went after was Toast.
I asked permission. Right?
You asked if everybody would like to hear pickup lines, and everyone said, cool, okay.
So you're saying that they said yes?
Everyone agreed to voice lines being read, yes.
Pickup lines. Thank you. Now, this statement is contradictory to two things. The case report and Toast's testimony. Pull it up.
it's about to start.
Toast's testimony in the one-sided conversation. What can you make of this?
Objection, speculation.
Let me rephrase that.
Overruled is like, no, he can't.
Thank you.
Now, you have two different...
No, because like I didn't like how he bags that question. Anyways.
You have two different arguments, statements, testimonies. Why is it that the case report did not include Fizz's testimony? All of Fizz's testimony.
I'm
better.
the person who writes the case reports, and due to how we do things and for impartiality, a lot of the stuff that was said I couldn't physically put into the case report. This case report was only made after the fact, not during, like I usually do, because at the time my stenotype was broken during our council meeting, so I couldn't transcribe every single thing. Following this case report, a lot of our case reports changed because it was simpler to just put a mock-up and a little bit more simple for people to read in the future. But his testimony, quote-unquote, everybody corroborated together. There was multiple testimonies that said the basics of the same thing. There was a call, people were playing games, you said a few pickup lines, Toast was uncomfortable, everyone left, Toast rejoined you, you then again asked to do not safe for work stuff with her. Or not with her voice for commissions or whatever. Some of them stated a little bit different details, but overall, in the case report, I think it directly states that there were minor discrepancies in details, but this is the basic of what happened.
Can you say that last part again? I cut off for a moment.
In investigation details, I believe under specifically investigation details, through interviews, it was confirmed that this situation did happen, and it was explicitly stated that there's minor discrepancies in the details, meaning that there's minor different tweaks, so everybody remembers something just slightly different. Someone remembers playing Fortnite, another person remembers Toe specifically playing Beat Saber for a long period of time, another person says that they were doing something else on their phone, so all the tiny details like that were not written in.
Now, I want you to remember that. Can we pull up Dark's testimony? After my removal, Dark was pulled into the VC and given his testimony as well. Dark, who's the one that was brought in?
You mean Ghost?
Sorry,
You're
Ghost.
names. You're flipping them.
Sorry.
Do you want my recollection of what his testimony said?
I would like your recollection and his testimony, recorded testimony.
To my recollection, it was the same thing Dark said. He said that he noticed that his girlfriend was super uncomfortable, and that
Fizz said.
Ghost said that he noticed his girlfriend at the time was very uncomfortable, and he tried to deflect. He made a couple jokes about it, and he was kind of a little bit of a later addition. This is the recording of that. You can drag him in now.
Alright.
Ghost, you're here.
Hello. Alright, Ghost, first, thank you for weighing that.
Sorry, the video stopped. Sorry, the video is having issues. I apologize.
Take your time.
If I may, while we do have a moment, Your Honor.
You may.
I was also under the impression at this point we were on witness testimony. Is this not just further evidence being presented after the fact, since this is now verbal recordings of prior events being given to the court? I was not made privy to these recordings in the discovery phase, unless I am mistaken.
These recordings were the same ones that you were using yourself. They're all the same.
I had no recordings with Ghost, and this was not put in during the discovery phase.
These recordings are all of the same court case that were.
He's not wrong. I'm just
But he's not wrong, though.
me.
But it doesn't matter if it's part of the original case. It was supposed to be submitted through discovery for review. This is surprise evidence, Your Honor.
You're not wrong. You're very much correct.
So you can have him either dismiss this and he can ask a different question.
So what we're gonna do here is, I can dismiss you, or I can have you ask another question.
I would also like the prior recording played stricken from the record, because that was also not given during the discovery phase.
He's not
Your
wrong.
Honor, it is stated in my description of the evidences that I was going to use Fizz's and Ghost's testimony in the discovery.
No
But that's
recording
still gotta
was
get-
provided.
Statement that I was using them were.
The Fizz one can stay. The Fizz one can
You
stay. because
needed to provide the evidence itself.
He provided it. He provided it in the
Yeah.
what's it called? in the
This one can stay, but the dark one has to be.
There are
Evidence.
many recordings.
Is that-
I cannot know exactly what recording is being discussed unless it's submitted in discovery. I have a right to know the evidence being presented in court.
All right, so I will allow the evidence from Fizz to stay in, but the evidence shown with Dark must be stricken out. Ghosts. They're all in the same three little sectors.
Yeah.
Is what's her name even still dating Ghosts anymore?
Let me backtrack then.
Good. Because he didn't sound that concerned that day when he came into the what's her name? As he should have.
It states that in the courts and details that the group had repeatedly expressed discomfort. Correct?
Yes, Toast did explain that she was uncomfortable multiple times with me.
And in Fiz's testimony, did it state at any point that they... Did it state at any point they...
Can you repeat the question? You keep cutting out.
Hello?
Yes, you can hear.
Okay.
We need you to...
Sorry, I was having a little bit of a difficulty.
Oh, no, fuck. Sorry. No, I'm
Fiz's
not.
testimony. Did you hear, that he states that anyone was expressing discomfort during the joke of the book?
Yes.
Can you elaborate?
During Fizz's testimony specifically, and as well as Ghost's, they reiterate to me a few times saying that they could tell that she was uncomfortable or she was acting different than the testimonies that have been recorded, though, were aside from how she felt, because we determined at the time that they can't choose how Toast feels. They can't state how someone else's feels because they are not them. And that was also given to you as a right to fair trial. A lot of information was ignored from the case because of that.
You just stated that they can't tell how we can feel, or they cannot tell our interpretations of wording.
I don't believe that anybody in the entire world can tell someone else how they feel. I mean, they can assume. They can assume that someone is upset or scared or worried or hungry or thirsty or happy. But that Toast wasn't there to speak on her own behalf at the time. So...
Including, would that include comments that saying screams are, commenting on screams are considered sexual?
You knew what you meant.
There's a difference between feeling and how someone interpreted something that someone said. I mean, you could be raging pissed off right now and I wouldn't know, like, I don't know the difference. But if you made a sexual comment towards me and then a few seconds later made another comment and I assumed it was sexual because we had a heated and sexually charged conversation in nature beforehand, I mean, that's like my right to assume that. If you're claiming otherwise, that's just the he said, she said difference. But, I mean, I don't know why that's relevant.
It's relevant because you just said you do not accept someone's interpretation of emotions or how they feel someone had said something, or someone feels someone it feels.
No, I'm stating you can't assume somebody else's emotions. You can assume your own, though, because they're your own emotions. They themselves stated they were uncomfortable and also felt like she was uncomfortable. That doesn't change the fact that they said that they also felt uncomfortable because of this incident.
So you're saying that in their testimony they themselves cannot feel that my wording for a comment on a screen would be sexual.
Yeah.
They cannot interpret what I felt when I said a thing.
I mean, yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
That's fine, but it's, I guess, yes, that is correct. But my understanding...
So that goes against the testimony of what... So that just goes against your earlier testimony then?
Not really, though, because they're not speaking on any behalf of emotions. Like, it's how you feel about a comment that you made isn't going to change the fact how it makes someone else feels. I can go up to anybody in this courtroom and say I'm going to fucking kill you and mean it as a joke, but they can take it as, holy shit, she is going to fucking kill me. That's their opinion and that's their interpretation of what I said. There's a difference. Now, if I go up to them and I tell someone, oh yeah, they knew I was joking, I don't know that. I don't know how they feel. I don't know their reaction to something.
Forgive me for saying this, but this is not a point of me saying I'm going to kill you. This is me commenting that a scream is loud. Now, you have just testified that someone else You are just testifying that in someone else's testimony that they deemed by their own interpretation that my saying their scream is loud is sexual in nature. Now you just now stated that you cannot interpret someone else's emotions.
Your Honor, at this point, this is not badgering the witness.
It is.
Your Honor, I am pointing out a contradiction in her own statement.
Yes, by pointing it out by badgering. I need you to stay on topic, please. You may.
He is conflating being able to interpret somebody's wording with being able to read someone else's feelings and decide how someone feels. How you interpret someone's wording is completely up to the person, which the witness has clearly stated. The witness is just stating you cannot truly know how a person feels. This has nothing to do with how you take their words, because they have their own feelings about the words. They are allowed that. They're just not stating the feelings of another person.
I would like to elaborate something that happened in the case, if I may, Your Honor.
You may.
That's a really big reason why we didn't let them speak on Toast's behalf. In fact, they were told that we just want their recollection, exactly how they remember the situation happening. We don't care if they tried to console Toast afterwards. We don't care if she was crying. We don't care about any of that. What we cared about was their exact recollection and how they themselves felt in that moment and how they interpreted everything, not how she interpreted everything. And that was part of your right to a fair trial, because if we took into account how they thought Toast felt, it would get a lot more messy.
Instance. This is me.
I'm sorry, could you repeat yourself?
Sorry, I'm trying to find wording. Thank you for that elaboration. Moving on. We have a statement that Fizz himself has held that prior to the voting, we have Fizz, judge, witness Fizz, stating that he holds the victim, Toast, as if she was his own daughter. Is that correct?
Yeah, he stated a few times. Sorry, I muted myself on accident. Yeah, he stated a few times that he had like familiarity with her, like they were like family.
And in a later statement, he expressed reason to hunt. Quote, hunt me down.
There you go.
Right?
I believe his exact wording was, "I'm shocked I didn't hunt you down," which, I mean, I think he was expressing his anger and restraint.
I may, Your Honor.
You may.
I believe that this is also being misquoted. I believe he just simply said he was tempted to do so, but he knew it wouldn't change anything.
I actually might be definitely misquoting, but he did express anger, and that was how he expressed his anger instead of reacting in a worse way.
Right.
No.
Right. So
he could have expressed that anger in a more different and more professional way.
Having close familial ties to
technically
the victim. Correct?
I guess he had in some form, yes, close familial ties with her.
And when you're with someone with close familial ties, that could drive up anyone's emotion, wouldn't it?
I mean, yes and no. I have close familial ties with people, but that doesn't change the fact if someone does something wrong, that they're in the wrong. I mean, I've had to recently cut off my brother because of his poor actions, so I think it's very dependent on the person. That's kind of like a really broad question.
Then let me put it in something more specific. When Fizz sees that when Fizz sees that Toast is being targeted for sexual employment, he expressed a very valid frustration or anger towards it. Correct?
Can you clarify that question? I'm actually really confused on what you're trying to ask.
Fizz had stated that he was very appalled and disgusted with my actions against what he has claimed to be someone as close as someone that he deemed to be as close as his daughter. Now, but someone with that close a connection, should someone that close of a connection be allowed for an impartial trial?
I think it's dependent on a situation. I mean, realistically, the way I see it, regardless if it was Fizz, Dark, heck, anybody in the jury, there was something that happened. There was multiple people and multiple witnesses involved. It made a single person feel uncomfortable, and multiple people spoke out for her because she was too scared to speak out for herself. And based on their experience with Toast, they knew that she would just be compliant and whatever would happen. So for her safety, people spoke up. Whether she technically is the base accuser or not, because she is saying that this stuff happened to her, a group of people came together to speak out on her behalf. And even if we're going to argue familiarity, I was closer to you than I was her. And in fact, I didn't have good ties with Toast at the time. I didn't like her at the time. So I was more inclined to vote for you to stay than anything. So the fact that I didn't vote for you to stay kind of just disproves like your assumption or your what you're trying to say, because familiarity literally meant nothing in that moment. What meant something was the right thing, and the right thing was to protect someone who we thought was a victim.
We have on the statement that he already expressed a very vivid discomfort towards my behavior. This is different. This is not comparable to our. This is not be comparable to our connection, as you have not previously stated anything of the sort during the trial.
If I may interject.
You may.
I'm going at least somewhat off memory from the audio clips, but if I do recall, Turtle did openly say that she was disgusted with his behavior and that she trusted him. So she did express strong negative emotion before the voting and everything.
That is correct. I did say that.
Yes, you said that. You said. You said that you had expressed disgust after the testimony. That is after my testimony. I am also referring to Physis, who has throughout the court case had expressed his discomfort, who had expressed his discontent with the defendant, me, throughout the entire court case.
Objection, Your Honor.
What is your objection?
If I recall, he is misconstruing evidence. If I recall, this was a controlled meeting. Only Turtle and I were allowed to speak freely. At this stage, I don't believe any of the judges, or not judges, but like from other councilmen were allowed to even speak during this point in the trial. I don't think they spoke until after Mantis' personal testimony, if I recall. So he did not speak throughout the trial at all.
Is this right, stenographer?
That is correct.
Objection.
During the meeting, we stated that nobody would be allowed to speak, only me and Grim, due to the nature of the conduct, as well as we wanted to conduct a fair trial. Hence why nobody got to speak on the case or make comments as to not sway anybody. And also why, at the start of the meeting, I said I would not be conducting it and I would be passing over leadership to Grim, as I felt too strongly to do anything. I also messaged Grim a couple days after, feeling like I was a horrible owner for passing off the duty to him, which, if the court needed me to provide, I could, of me feeling horrible and feeling like I couldn't do anything, and Grim consoling me, saying that I did the right thing by passing off the job if I felt like I couldn't do it.
Thank you.
Witness states that witness states that in her own statement, witness states herself that her own emotions disallowed her from being the leading judge in the trial.
But also not from voting, I would like to point out she simply did not lead the case, and neither did Fizz.
Fizz did not lead, but he was allowed to give testimony as well as vote. But that's the thing. He also expressed. He also had expressed his clear discomfort toward me, which is what my argument is. If someone is of such clear discomfort, should they really be allowed to make a sound decision?
The fuck? Did he really just say that shit? Turtle,
if you were speaking, you were muted.
Is that a question to me?
Yes.
Oh, then don't look at me when you ask shit.
In that case, if we were to argue if they're not sound, then the only votes that truly mattered in that entire case back then would have been Greens, Deer Kings, and Queens. And we'll take away Deer Kings
because he also expressed emotional discomfort, and we'll also take away Greens because he was asleep and woke up after the fact, and we had to explain everything to him again, so he wasn't really present. And then we'll also take away Queens. No, that's not how that works. The council at the time did what they had to do to ensure the safety of someone within our group. Everybody expressed discomfort. Everybody was upset. Every single person during the meeting expressed how disgusted they were, how upset they were at what you did, how they trusted you and you broke that trust. My anger towards you and being disgusted that you broke my trust has nothing to do with my vote. It had something to do with how I would lead everything, and if I would let you talk, or if I would let Fizz talk, or if I needed any more evidence. But it wouldn't have to do with how I felt of my due diligence of how I had to vote. It wouldn't have had anything to do with protecting Toast. It would have only had to do with the handling everything in the moment until I got to calm down, which I did at the end of it.
And that's great to hear. But we are referring to, and I'll be putting that against you, we're asking about Fizz's emotional state. If you were capable...
I already answered that earlier. I can't tell you any of their emotional state.
Don't worry, because Fizz already expressed that he was already in a state of which he wished to inflict harm. The only reason in his own words that he didn't is that it wouldn't change anything. So, if someone wanting to wish harm on an individual only stopping because it knew the outcome wouldn't change...
Your Honor, if I may.
Yeah.
I would ask the defense to not use the word wish, as that is misquoting. I would like him to use the proper word, which was tempted.
Tempted. Tempted. Is that the correct term?
That was the correct term used.
What was I going to ask? Is someone of sound mind when they state how clearly tempted they are to harm an individual upon the news that they heard, upon what they had witnessed? Is that the right wording?
Is he talking to you?
I mean,
Okay.
the group as a whole, I just don't think that your question makes any sense or is relevant, to be honest. I mean, if you want the full answer, if someone is so pissed off to the point where they are choking you out and then they have to take the stand and vote for your innocence or not, of course I don't. But I also don't think Fizz did that. Fizz expressed his discomfort with you. He said he was upset. He said that it wouldn't change anything if he yelled at you, if he did any... He quite literally said, I wanted to hunt you down, but it wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't change the fact that you did anything. It wouldn't make Toast feel any better. That's what I interpreted, if we're going based off that, from what he said. I don't think you were in any potential danger. I don't think Fizz would have done anything to you, and I don't think his vote really changed any sway of the council's vote at the time. So, should someone angry vote? Probably not, but he also wasn't that angry to not be cognitive, the same way I wasn't that angry to not be cognitive.
Put a pin in that part. But thank you on that statement. Moving on to the next question. Where was it?
The fucking last.
What's your question?
We come to Toast's written testimonies, of which she had expressed immediate of her actions during the situation. Toast's written statements. Sorry, I'm bringing it up. During this interaction, we engaged in conversation, played Fortnite together, and I believe played Fire at Funkin'. Discussion initially centered around shared interests. During the course of conversation, he was involved in, albeit producing adult content, inquired on whether I would be interested in providing voice acting to this material. I felt immediately uncomfortable with the proposition, although I initially attempted to deflect conversation with humor. He continued to push it, proceeded to offer incentives, and made statements that I interpreted as attempts to bribe me into participating. Mantis has also claimed to possess recordings of another individual returned to a turtle who is alleged formed voice acting for similar not safe for work content. He offered to show me those recordings if I agreed to take the role. I refused all offers. Following this interaction, I severed all communications by blocking it. In this conversation, says this was a private voice call.
She said that you guys had a private voice call at some point, which was shown in the evidence. It says it was 1 second, but she later clarified to me that it's because she has you blocked, that's why it pops up that way. It's actually for an hour that you guys had privately called.
Do you have... I am looking at the photos of our DMs that you have given to me.
Yes.
That states in our DMs that we had a voice call that only lasted a few seconds.
Yes, but that is because she has you blocked, and all calls pop up as that when they have someone blocked.
Now, in her testimony, she said that there was a private voice call between the two of us.
Yes.
If that was the block...
12... Hold on, I don't even have the right one. Yes, it was right after she sent you the meme, I believe. No, it wasn't. The one where she called you for a few seconds, that one is the one where she tried to block you and accidentally called you at 8 o'clock at night. But the rest, she claims that you guys had called privately for a little bit.
Okay. But in this, you see, in the screenshots that you had provided to me, you do not see do you see any voice call that would have enough time to potentially have a discussion about Fortnite Friday Night Funking?
I don't, but that doesn't mean you guys couldn't have joined like a group call or a private group call. We have those in the server as well. That could be the same thing she's talking about, but she's not here to reiterate, so I'm not going to speak on that behalf.
So, if it could be interpreted that way, it could be interpreted anyway, but not the way that it was written down. It's contradictory.
I mean, there was a private voice call, meaning there was only 2 people, you and her. That's how I took private voice call.
That private voice call, we have her one-sided conversation where it clearly states that she accidentally called me while trying to block me.
Yes, but
so
what does that matter in this case? I'm confused.
The case is of what's the word I'm looking for? Consistency.
Consistency.
My initial argument was that we were amicable. Simple. Everything was fine. Right here,
Your Honor, at this point, may I object on relevance?
Grounds.
At this point, it's made more than clear. At this point, it's made more than clear.
Mantis, I would ask that you be respectful and allow him to speak as he has allowed you to.
At this point, it's been made more than clear that he believes everything was comfortable. We have a witness testimony from the other side to say that, that's not how she felt. And with his own witness, we've made it clear that you shouldn't be able to interpret someone else's feelings. Whether he thinks that this was comfortable or not is irrelevant and gives nothing to the witness testimony he's currently questioning.
He's right. I am afraid that prosecution is correct on him.
Sorry, my mic cut. Your Honor, I am breaking down Toast's testimony for all the discrepancies between it and the report case. Goes to show that things were not how she had described.
Your Honor, if I may interject. I fail to see how failed submitted evidence or something, alleging that, this testimony is invalid because there is no evidence of a voice call provided doesn't remove the testimony as evidence. And if he wanted to simply disprove it, he was allowed to submit evidence. He could have sent the entirety of his conversation history with Toast if he wanted to argue this angle. He's provided no such evidence. The lack of some screenshot doesn't invalidate her witness testimony. I believe this line of questioning is without any merit at this point.
What was that?
Your Honor, toasts the victim's right to privacy or to not face me has disallowed me to get my DMs with them. I'm only allowed DMs with them. I'm only privacy given to by Toast and what the bailiff has given me.
Your Honor, I would like to say incompetence and not being able to get something are two completely different things, because I had to send the half of the evidence that was given by Mantis. I was the one who sent it to him, and it's the very own evidence that we provided in our case file. It's the very own evidence that I asked from Toast and like their screenshots. If he couldn't get to their DMs because he was blocked, I still fail to see why he even wants to be a part of a group that does not want him here and has made it very clear that we do not want him back. I fail to see why you are doing this at all. I understand that you are trying to prove your innocence, but I had to get you half your evidence, and I was hoping you would be able to at least get your DMs with Toast, and saying like, oh, because she has me blocked, I couldn't got it. Makes no sense, because I have people blocked all the time, and I can still get their screenshots of my
I cannot pull up her DM. I've tried. I've used her name. I used the ID that I requested from you. I put it in everywhere I could. I cannot pull it up.
Because you have a court.
I'm telling you I can. That's its own thing.
Well, and if I may, Your Honor, if he wants to go on the record and simply disagree and offer his conflicting testimony, like that's allowed, but I don't believe he should be allowed to simply nitpick in this bizarre line of questioning to somehow undermine a testimony of somebody else because there's an absence of evidence that it was his responsibility to gather. And also at this point, I would insist he clarify at this point what the point of the witness here is serving, because I'm genuinely lost at what he's trying to accomplish here.
Me too.
I'm trying to set base of contradictories in her statement that proves that
he's getting me lost.
What happened and what were said are two different things.
Give Grim a chance to cross-examine.
Something that is not allowed.
I would like to interject again based off of that comment. Any undermining he can do right now literally would prove genuinely nothing. All he can offer is his side of the testimony. It's a he said, she said, Your Honor. It's a classic. There is no way to prove anything. Acting like this will prove a case and be a smoking gun is absurd, and this line of questioning, again, I assert, is a waste of time.
Thank you, prosecution. Now, defense. Since this has gone on way longer than expected, I will give you 2 more questions before we give prosecution their chance to come up and question your witness.
That also goes against the right to a fair trial. I have not yet to ask all the questions that I had myself prepared.
But your questions?
With the only available activities that I could get. Majority of all of this would happen in the public.
I understand that. But you've been sitting up here for 3 hours. You have the right to sit here and question her. You have the right to ask questions. But that means prosecution wouldn't be able to get their questioning out at all. Do you understand?
Stop them from also asking their questions, but it just has to be the case that it has to be after the defense. I asked my questions to bring a sort of reasonable doubt to what was considered fair.
Can I ask
to deny my questionings would once again enact an unfair trial that deprives me the right to question.
Let them cross-question because you have so many.
We're not denying your questioning. We're literally just saying to allow him to have his questioning. That's it.
I'm not trying to.
Your Honor, if I may ask for clarification.
What do you want?
Mantis, if you don't mind.
I don't know.
He says he'd like to cast a reasonable doubt. I would, in interest of making sure this is genuine questioning that should occur, is this reasonable doubt for sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, abuse of your position, general misconduct, or your disregard for the group and its well-being in the violation of our code of conduct? Which portion of this is going to be having reasonable doubt by nitpicking a sworn affidavit and prior testimony of a witness with your own witness testimony, which cannot be corroborated with evidence? May I remind the court?
I gotta take a piss.
What charge will get reasonable doubt by this line of questioning?
The charges, but the fact that that court case was, whether or not that court case was fair and impartial.
So, to be clear, you are not even going against the charges. You don't disagree with the charges. You simply disagree with the way the court operated. Am I understanding that correctly?
With the way that the court operated, it allowed intensity to, it allowed witness testimony that I am trying to prove has many inconsistencies to be added on and added on as reason to believe that I am all of those, all of that which was against me.
Exactly.
So
I once again ask for clarification on, did you disagree with any of these charges then? Or is it this the way the court was handled?
The way that the court was handled. With the way, if the court was handled in a more fair and truly impartial manner,
Turn the phone out the window.
I'm about to.
I declare that it would have, that the result, the sentencing, the impacts would not be the same.
I'm once more going to ask, if you disagree with the way the court was handled, it must mean you disagree with a result. I will once again ask, which of any charges do you disagree with that were given to you?
I am saying that if the trial is impartial, since the trial was impartial, the result would ended up differently, which is what I am trying to prove.
And I ask, which charge would be different? Which charge?
Any of them? I cannot within full expert statement state that I can truly state what all of you would agree with at that end of at the sentencing. What I'm trying to argue is that because that trial was played the way that it was, it turned out worse for me than it could have been if it was fair.
So I'd like to interject that now this is very much coming into, we're speculating he believes that things might be different, etc. He's not said that this is going to cast a reasonable doubt on any specific charge. And may I remind the court that during my opening statement I said I wouldn't even be going after him under the guise of sexual harassment, which is largely what his defense has been focused on. And I would like to also remind the court that he has confessed to most of these actions. My evidence was direct statements of his own testimony during our trial. So the other charges are beyond a shadow of a doubt, as I plainly stated before, meaning there is no room for shadow of a doubt or anything to be casted by this line of questioning.
Like a news
I'm going
reporter.
to again assert that this line of questioning is worthless. It leads nowhere. This is redundant
An
or
argument
relevant
because if this would let me, if the prosecution would allow me to continue my questioning, you could have seen the doubt that I was trying to build up to.
You failed to articulate any reasonable doubt that would have occurred.
So, defense, I will allow you 5 more questions. I'm sure that should be fairly enough to you, because we do have to get things moving on, and for prosecution to be able to come up.
Yes, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
I would like to the defense to, at the very least, answer the question that I had previously provided. Previously provided, that which Toast's statement does not cooperate with the evidence that she had given, in which she states that there was a private call, in which in VC, in which the documents, the only available documents that could be acquired, states that there are none. That is that would be a discrepancy, a contradiction in her own testimony.
Okay, that's fine, but I'm not an expert on any of that. I simply made the report, I took in all the information, and I provided it to everybody involved. That's including Counsel, that's including Grimm, and that's including you.
Thank you.
Let's get to the 5 questions.
We established that there were more than one. This is what is it that you said? That having such discrepancies is more than having more than one discrepancies from more than one individual is more than minor. Bit larger than minor, wouldn't you think?
It's dependent, once again, on the situation. That's a really broad term. In our group specifically, our policy states as long as the owners deem it okay and deem as the council vote being able to continue, then it should be fine. It's, once again, it would have been a major discrepancy if I would have led the prosecution because I was so amped up. But once again, I stated before your trial a year ago that I was not going to lead it for that reason, hence why we still continued the vote.
Yes, thank you. It's 2.
Yep, that was 2. Let's go.
Third one, during the trial. During the trial, prior to my confession, you had mentioned you had stated your, it was stated that you mentioned your emotions toward the situation and my involvement. Can you clarify?
You were a dear friend to me. I cared about you. I loved you. We have a lot of history together. And I trusted you with a high position in my group that's filled with children. It's a position that shouldn't have been taken lightly. You were there for writing the code of conduct, the TOS. You were there for everything we did, and you meant a lot to me. The moment I found out you broke that trust, it was really, really hard for me. It's hard for me to sit in this court today and face you. It's not that easy. And I don't like being mad at you. I don't like being mad at you because you mean so much to me. But that doesn't change the fact that someone got hurt.
Yes. That leads me to my next question. I'm sorry. Cease questioning after this. For your...
One moment. Would you need a moment to collect yourself?
No, I'm good. I'm good. You can continue.
Alright.
You had... Sorry, I'll be a little moment myself. Okay. You had openly expressed your discontent towards me, and my wanting to continue the argument during the original court case, the court trial.
Is that your question? I didn't understand.
Sorry, came on. During the trial, you had taken a moment to make a statement that you were unhappy with me. And, excuse me. That you were unhappy with me and dissatisfied, disgusted with my actions. Correct?
Yeah, I did say that.
Would you think that with how close together, a close relationship that we are, that statements would affect one another?
They did. They affected the way I treated you afterwards. Originally, I was gonna vote for your innocence, because at the time, I had no close relation to Toast, and I didn't believe her. There's people all the time online who will lie and ruin a man's life over an allegation like that. But testimonies collaborated. She was scared, and I saw myself in her. I deal with predators and people trying to hurt my community on a daily basis. And back then, though it was small, and we didn't have a lot of people, this issue was really big. And the moment I heard Fizz's testimony and hers and Ghost's, all I saw was every single abuser who had ever abused me in my life. All I saw was another person I was going to have to drop, because they were just the same as every other person. I didn't see Mantis. I saw an abuser, a liar, a manipulator. So yes, people's testimony did change how I felt about you. And it did change how I interacted with you afterwards. But I still treated you with respect. I still told you I cared about you afterwards.
I'm not arguing that. It affected me too. Your testimony has... Your testimony made me wish to... Your testimony made me realize how I did not wish to argue. Because I was hurting one of the few people I was closest to. And I should have said, excuse me. I'm sorry. I don't think I can make an argument anymore.
Are you done with your questioning?
You could just move to cross.
I think I'm done, period.
Alright, you may take your seat. Thank you so much for your cooperation.
I'm sorry. Turtle.
Do we need to give the court a moment to collect themselves?
I would like a moment, yes.
Are you sure?
I believe it might be appropriate for us to call a short recess, Your Honor.
Yes, because we've been at this for a moment, so. 1 minute recess. You are able to go into the meeting rooms to collect yourselves and to collect your thoughts. Shit.
Is he crying? I like stumped him with my answer, bro.
Oh, girl, Turtle, you doing your ones. You doing your ones.
I don't know what I did. I literally, he was like, how did it make you feel? You broke my trust. And he's like crying. What am I supposed to say?
But are you okay, though?
I'm fine. It sucks seeing him, but I'm not like, I can't do this anymore. Like, if I'm gonna have a panic attack, I'll, like, let the court know. I'm fine.
Yeah, you gotta let me know. Oh, it was text me. He said, you doing okay? No!
Start digging your butt, twin. Mr. Krabs, start digging in your butt, twin.
Hold on. Finish the sentence. On me. Boom. All right. As of 1 minute has been up, is everyone emotionally capable on moving on with the court case?
I'm able to continue to cross-question any.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. Now it is time for prosecution to step up to the witness stand to cross-examine.
Alright, I'm going to make this a very quick question here. I don't have much for the witness who has been through a lot in this session. I just have a few simple questions. Does the defendant here professionally create NSFW material?
Yes, he has for a couple years now.
Is he involved regularly in NSFW communities?
Yes, but that's not how I met him. But yeah, he is pretty often.
Would you describe his online presence as not safe for children? That's what you know of his online activities.
At first, no. At the time of everything happening, he was a D&D nerd. I met him through D&D. It wasn't inherently sexual. It was innocent. He was really creative, really smart. He was a good story writer. I thought he would be a great addition to the team. But in the recent years, he has become way more sexual, or at least I've seen him become way more sexual, at least in the past 2 years, 3 years.
Is it true you've used the word gooner to describe Colonel Mantis?
I have described him as that. He's pretty sexually depraved in a way. I mean, a lot of our conversations have had a lot of sexually charged topics in them in the past 3 years.
Would you say these activities have significantly influenced his behavior in the time of your relationship with him as your friend?
Yeah, I do think so. I don't think I noticed it for a really long time until recently, but for sure it has, from similar likes to characters to talking about art to D&D and interactions. It has been.
Has behavior in line with what you described today ever, at any point in the history of Hydra, present today, has this ever been welcome or tolerated within our community?
Not within our community, no. It's never been okay, and it's always been something that I've kind of told him to not do around people. And I've told him to seek like therapy or to slow down, or he shouldn't do certain things, even before Hydra. So yeah, like it's never really been allowed.
So even before the entire court session prior in question, he has received verbal or written warnings directly from you stating he needs to curb this behavior and not do it in front of people, to the point he should receive mental help such as therapy?
Yeah, for a little while before Hydra was even a thing, he would say stuff that was a little uncomfortable. We would have fallouts and fights because of certain things he would do, and I would encourage him to seek therapy, and a lot of it came from these desires that he would express in our DMs.
In your own words, is any of what you have described during this witness testimony something you would allow in a 13-plus community such as Hydra?
Absolutely not. No. Everything and anything. And honestly, I blame myself for even inviting him in before Hydra got started as a founder. I never thought it would get to that point. I thought he could hold it or not do it publicly. I thought it was just a hobby that he could hide.
Baby, that's not your fault. He is a grown
With the
man.
behavior
with his own
described
freaking
thus far, which has been made clear is not welcome in Hydra, do you believe this behavior also poses a potential risk or danger to Hydra and its members?
Absolutely, I do. I was exposed to stuff way too sexual when I was younger, and it's messed me up in ways I can't explain. It's something that we don't even allow Diddy avatars in our court cases, let alone anything showing too much skin. I mean, look around you at all the avatars people are wearing, fully covered, not a single inch of skin showing, animals. We don't allow any of that stuff.
Thank you. That is all I will need from the witness. I would just like to say for the record, allow the record to show the witness's testimony has outlined a long history of this behavior before Hydra even started, to the point of warning him to keep this under wraps, that it could be a potential issue, that he should receive mental help, and that it is very clear that this was never welcome, and that this is, to today, still a danger for our community and its members, which I will remind the court is 13+. Thank you, Your Honor. That is all I have for the witness.
Thank you, prosecution.
Redirect.
Yeah, he's allowed to.
You're allowed to.
I have one question. After what happened, and in our communications with each other, has there been significant decline in sexual activity in our communications?
There's a difference between us not texting, hence why nothing has happened, and when we used to talk.
Then let me reiterate, or reword it. When I was still trying to communicate with you, or in the events that we did communicate, was there any sign of sexual activity? Over the course of the year, was there significant signs of sexual activity?
There was. There was a lot of signs that even after you said you would get therapy, you never did. On I believe it was 2/25, you sent me a yaoi porn from Twitter, and I ignored you. You then proceeded to text me on Valentine's Day. Also, I really am hoping that the Peel thing is available. I didn't answer. You then texted me on 2/24/25, Turtle, be friends with me, Turt. On my birthday, you said, happy birthday, Turtle. You better have a better day than I've been having. I didn't answer. On April 5th, you said, hey, Turtle, hope you had a great birthday. I wish I had a gift for you, but I'm struggling a bit right now. On April 10th, you sent me another Twitter post that was not safe for work, / safe for work voice acting. And that was just within the month of April. You've sent me updates about your life and asked me about updates of mine. You've asked me to be friends with you and to hop on. You've asked to have conversations with me in which I allowed to have a 6-minute talk with you over the phone. I talked about scripts with you, but there is proof in our DMs of you multiple times sending Twitter links of not safe for work. On 11/24/24, you sent a picture of a bunny girl that's supposed to be a lewd image. If I scroll up a little bit more, on 11/20/24, there's more lewd Twitter posts. So since you blocking... Oh, and also on 11/20, you had told me about drama about someone named Nexo, who was upset that someone had stole his character design and made revenge not safe for work art of their OCs. And you sent multiple pictures. Let me see, you sent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pictures of it. To which I responded, that's very strange drama. So yes, ever since your ban, you have sent me lewd stuff. Oh, also on 11/20, you asked me to do another not safe for work voice acting thing. So there are multiple instances of it.
During the month, 60 days.
Your Honor, yes, for a single question. I understand this is the most.
Yeah, you asked for a single question, and I allowed only one.
I got it. Sorry.
Oh, Jesus. Did you see what the fuck he tried to do?
I have no other word.
Did you see what he tried to do?
I don't even know what he tried. I'm too busy crying.
All right, so closing statements first. Fuck. All right, my apologies. We will be moving into closing statements now. I will ask if any of you need time to come up with your closing statements.
No, Your Honor.
Written notes.
All right. All right. Prosecution.
I don't properly stand up for this, Your Honor. Your Honor, bailiff/witness/stenographer, opposing counsel, ladies and gentlemen of the jury who've patiently sat through this very long court case. I would like to reiterate some of what you have seen here today during this trial. During this trial, we've brought up many charges against Colonel Mantis: sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, which was kindly dropped for the sake of argument, abuse of position, general misconduct, and a disregard for the well-being of the group and its members. I have provided direct testimony from the defendant himself, readily admitting to this past behavior, which remained unchallenged throughout the entirety of this court case. The defense merely argued the validity of our code of conduct and the eligibility of former council members to vote on a unanimous decision, providing no genuine defense or reasoning for why he should have a ban appeal, because I will remind the court that is what this is. This was his moment to come in and argue why he should be eligible to return into our community despite being convicted of these actions which he confessed to. Actions which, according to our evidence and our witness testimony, are a long-running, chronic, if you will, behavior that he has been repeatedly warned about since longer than Hydra, which has been admitted to be a potential risk and danger to Hydra and its members. I ask you, Your Honor, when considering this verdict, to ask yourself a few questions. Who is it you serve? Do you serve the Hydra community members, or do you serve former staff who, in my opinion, should be held to a much higher standard than anyone else? And I do not believe a normal member would have been given this level of treatment of multiple hearings and full trial. I don't believe any of that would have honestly occurred. Normal members get removed. Council members get trials, which we have given 2 of now to this person who has failed to provide any reason he should be removed from his ban and should be allowed back in. I also ask, when you were considering this decision, if this is good for our community, would you stand by this decision if the contents of this case were public? If this was announced for his return, if we announced his charges and what had happened prior in our Discord to our members, that, hello everybody, a person who we previously convicted of sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, all these things, who was openly recruiting for pornography, let's call it what it is, pornography in our 13-plus community to a person he did not know the age of, we are welcoming him back into our community of 13-plus members. I ask you, Your Honor, when it concerns this decision, if you are not comfortable saying that publicly, why would you be comfortable agreeing with this decision? Please consider that during your deliberation on whether this man should be appealed of his ban, which I believe he should not. I, in fact, motion that due to the fact he has provided no evidence for a genuine ban appeal, that he should not be allowed to reappeal after this verdict. This should be a decider. If he is not granted a ban appeal, then I believe he should be permanently banned, and I would motion for that, Your Honor. Of course, that is up to your discretion. I will rest my case. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, prosecution. All right, defense, if you're ready, you may step in the middle of the room and present your closing statements.
I'm having connection issues
We'll reconnect now.
with my there.
Oh, sorry.
Members
You okay,
of the
Mama?
Hydra Tribunal, we have spent a very considerable amount of time reviewing the accusation against me and the circumstance involving my trial. I acknowledge my past mistakes and the harm that it had caused, and my complacency to allow not safe for work content, my professional livelihood, bleed in that of a public area. But I have served my time, then some, given 60 days turned to 6 months. And whatever argument that I had before, I wish to once again be part of the community, to rebuild what I have lost in the creation, founding, and in the friendship that I had lost with who I consider to be one of my best friends. I have taken
You see
various
Insomniac
steps
shaking his head in the back.
to rectify mistakes,
Shit, my back.
no longer allowing such pornographic content to spill into the public eyes, and only those that are most trusted. I may not have had. I have argued fairness of a trial, the prior trial, in hopes to demonstrate that I could be trusted and worthy to be returned to the community. My unending willingness to be a valued member, the server, valued friend to those I had known, and asked for your consideration to let me back in. People who I was close with felt a genuine connection with, those who I wish to build one with. That is all.
Alright. Thank you, defense. You may take your seat. Alright, I'm calling a recess so we can deliberate. Pay yourselves, please. Don't know them motherfuckers. Alright, come on. That
motherfucker's a bitch.
I know. Come here. I know.
Okay, he's an asshole.
I know. But I do know that affected you emotionally very heavy.
He's just an asshole.
I know. Also, they used to be your best friend, and it is very difficult to be basically standing up against him, especially after what he did. And how we've heard how he's placed his statement already. And it's not good for him at all.
Yeah, well, what's your vote?
My vote is to permanently ban him. He will no longer be allowed to step foot within the Hydra VR chat group or within the Hydra Discord server, nor will he be able to interact with the victim or any other staff of the Hydra community, nor will he be able to ask for another quote-unquote unfair trial.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to be revoking my vote, as it's obviously it got emotional, and I don't want him to say like, "Oh, like you emotionally voted," blah blah blah. So I'm just gonna revoke my vote. So you will be the sole voter.
That's fine. Right. Since usually in our own courts we allow the jury to at least have a vote, will it be relevant? No. So, what I would like the jury to do. So I would like you to stand up, and as you know how we do it, go on to the side that you think if he's guilty or not guilty. All right, you may have a seat. Now me, I've come up with my own verdict. And my verdict is Mantis, you will be permanently banned from the Hydra group and the Hydra Discord. You will no longer be allowed to contact any of the Hydra staff to attempt to hold another court case. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm. Nothing Hydra related.
Anything.
Anything?
So, you ready?
Yeah. I did not get to vote in this court case because of everything, but I am going to be speaking on behalf of Toast for a little bit, and this is an impact statement for everything that's happened. Your Honor, esteemed members of the tribunal, prosecution, and defense, my name is Turtle. I am 21 years old, born April 5th, 2004. I've known Mantis for over 5 years, and we briefly dated the first year I met him. You can do the math. he became one of my closest friends. That history matters. That connection matters. And that's what makes this moment so difficult. It breaks my heart to be here today, not only as a court clerk, but also as a witness in a case against someone I once considered family. But I cannot sit in silence and pretend what happened was okay. Mantis openly attempted to recruit someone whose age he never confirmed for not safe for work voice acting. This person said no, repeatedly, and he persisted. There is no debate that this incident occurred. While it is true that some details may be unclear and perhaps not every council member handled things perfectly, none of that erases the fact that someone who was a trusted member of our community was harmed. Mantis abused his position, and I trusted him. Whether he believes he has served his time or not, we must ask ourselves, are we willing to lose Toast, a victim who came forward for the sake of someone who has been little more than a constant stain on this group's reputation? Mantis didn't just lose friends, he lost the trust of an entire community. And if he's allowed back in, I want it known on record that I would no longer feel safe or comfortable continuing as the owner of Hydra. I fear for our minors, I fear for Toast, I fear that what we witnessed today was not accountability but manipulation, an argument built on excuses, not growth. Even after his ban, Mantis continued to engage in inappropriate, not safe for work behavior, including messages directed at me. I will not let my past loyalty or my personal love for Mantis cloud the reality of what happened. Toast is a victim. Toast deserves protection. And I do not believe Mantis is someone who can be trusted around vulnerable people, especially children. For that reason, I'm recusing myself from voting on this matter. He still deserves a fair trial, but I want it known where I stand. Queen, thank you for your final vote. What you decided today does define this group's future.
Here we go. Count 1, guilty. Count 2, guilty. Count 3, guilty. Count 4, guilty. Count 5, guilty. Count 6, guilty. Count 7, guilty. Count 8, guilty. Count 9, guilty. Count 10, guilty. Count 11, guilty. Count 12, guilty.